Start. Okay. Okay. Mr. Chakraborty, you can start.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Challa Srinivasalu Sethi, Managing Director, State Bank of India, and on Indian, and Mr. Ambarish Dasgupta, former President, Bengal Chamber, and founder of and senior partner of Intuity Consulting LLP. This is really indeed a pleasure to have both of you on this fireside chat session on the Indian rural and agriculture market competitiveness vision of India's largest bank with Mr. Ambarish Dasgupta. I think that is we all here, those who have joined the digital platforms here directly, as well as to the social medias like Facebook, like LinkedIn, into and other platforms. They are also eagerly waiting for this exciting with you, sir, Mr. Sethi, actually. To give a background of this session, sir, actually, Bengal Chamber of Commerce is organizing this Rural Connect edition for since last 6 years. We are organizing three or four such programs in a year with a mindset of creating impact on the farming society, actually. So our earlier programs were focused mainly on the productions, then on the FPO linkage, and this edition is mainly towards the market connect, actually, because we thought that we are now shifting from production-driven agriculture to market-driven agriculture also. So where I think physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, agri-tech intervention, finance, and value addition to value chains are the most critical factors. But ultimately, the stakeholders, particularly the farmers and others, needs the money, need the support. And who else better than State Bank of India could guide Indian farming community? So it is a really exciting sessions. And I before I hand over to Mr. Ambarish Dasgupta, I like to have a brief our audience about the profile of the two distinguished gentlemen, those who are having the chat session. Mr. Challa Srinivasalu Sethi, Managing Director of State Bank of India, currently in charge of retail banking, digital initiatives, MSME, agriculture, and financial inclusion activities of the bank. A Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and also a certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers. He started his career with State Bank of India in 1988 as a probationary officer. Across a career spanning of over 3 decades, he has worked in corporate credit, retail banking, and stressed asset management both in India and abroad. As a head of retail banking, Sri Shetty looks after a business of rupees 36 lakh crore deposits and a rupees 14 lakh crore loans. As a whole-time director of the board of SBI, Sri Shetty is on several board committees. He is also a member of various task forces committees formed by the government. Sir, such a illuminating background, and we are all excited to hear from you about the way forward. Similarly, today, I am also immensely lucky because Mr. Ambarish Dasgupta is the former president of Bengal Chamber of Commerce. So my job is little bit, I'm feeling very, very comfortable because he has managed these institutions for a long time. So Mr. Ambarish Dasgupta, a seasoned management consultant with more than 30 years of experience, he was a member of the India leadership team in PwC. He managed a practice of 2,000 people in digital and analytics with US$ of 60 million revenue. After PwC, he has been the national consulting leader in KPMG and a part of the leadership team as well. In his professional career, he served global and multinational clients in India and abroad, advising C-level executives in the fields of corporate and business strategy. global business model, innovation, business transformation, organizational strategy and governance, change management and organizational dynamics, business performance improvement, and leadership development. He is the founder and senior partner of the Inturi Consulting LLP. Sir, with this background, I think I am requesting Mr. Dasgupta to take it forward this our fireside chat session with Mr. Sethi. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chakraborty. And Mr. Sethi, it's really a pleasure to get a chance to be in a conversation with you. It's, of course, it's an honor as well. Of course, I mean, there, as I understand from the organizer, we have a very heterogeneous composition of the audience out here. So there are some people who would be directly interested to know about the contribution that SBI is making in the rural sector. And there are some people who are coming more from academics and more from analysts who may also like to have certain ideas about the rural economy. So over the next 1 hour, we will try to make a balance of both, utilizing your huge experience in this area. Just to start, then maybe Mr. Sethi, you can first start with what SBI is right now doing in the rural sector. I mean, we did not actually confine ourselves only to agriculture. You can come to the rural social side, rural infrastructure, and the other rural housing also, and agriculture also. So maybe we can start with that, then we will get into a few questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dasgupta. And first of all, let me really thank Bengal Chamber of Commerce for giving this opportunity. Last year, I wanted to participate in one of the sessions, but somehow I couldn't make it. And when this opportunity came, I told my secretary that by all means, I would like to be part of this Rural Connect again, which is an integral part of the job which I'm doing, and also where I've had the formal training in agriculture. I think the Rural Connect is a very good initiative what chambers have started. And State Bank of India, as everybody knows, is the pioneer in agri financing. Even if you go to Dantewala committee and all, even early 60s, late 60s and early 70s, State Bank of India had started many of the rural branches which are focused on rural credit. Today, as we speak, we have more than 50% of our branches in the rural and semi-urban areas. And most of our rural branches obviously are doing the rural credit, both in terms of financing of agricultural activities, allied activities, and also various service-oriented activities in the rural areas. We have the largest number of unique farmer customers in our portfolio. More than 1.2 crores farmers bank with us by availing crop loans and other allied services financing. Incidentally, in the rural areas, our presence is also very significant in terms of engagement with self-help groups, where the women are financed in large economic activities. And we have millions of self-help women getting benefited out of these programs, which are run under National Rural Livelihood Missions, NRLM projects. And we were pioneer in financing self-help groups. And I'm glad to say that today we are aiming at reaching more than 10 million women through the self-help group financing. The other area which we have expanded in the rural areas is that while we have a very strong branch network, we also have realized that as part of the financial inclusion, when the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana started, much of these Jan Dhan accounts needed support by an outlet which is closer to them, so that they don't have to travel a long distance to reach the branches. So we have one of the strongest customer service point, what we call banking correspondent network in the country, with more than 70,000 plus CSPs working in various rural parts of the country, providing rural services. So the combination of these CSPs and the ATM network, what we have significantly in the rural areas, and the branch network, I'm very proud to say that not a single day there was disruption in the banking services during pandemic period. I think it's a We take pride that crores of DBT payouts have been made to PMJDY beneficiaries, particularly women, during the first phase of the COVID, the first wave of COVID, and not a single day disruption in the banking services in the rural areas. So I think apart from financing the agriculture and self-help group, our mission currently is one of the items which you wanted to discuss in this meeting is on the technology front. We would like to be a strategic leader in promoting the agri fintechs in the country. I think we are onboarding half a dozen agri techs immediately, and we would like to have more than 50 to 60 agri fintechs working with State Bank of India in the next 12 months. So this is broadly the landscape of our engagement with the rural population. As you know, we have the largest Prime Minister Jan Dhan account in the banking industry. We maintain more than 13 crores Jan Dhan accounts serviced both by the CSPs as well as our bank branches. Mr. Dasgupta, this is my initial introduction to State Bank of India's engagement with the rural population.
Yeah, that's very, very, very nice. It's brief, but gives out the huge magnitude and the complexity of the business that you actually are doing. Tell me your penetration into the rural areas. I mean, is it only, or your present focus is only to expand through the branches, or you are also moving into the various other forms like the cooperative banks or the cooperative marketing societies or small farmer scheme, farm graduate scheme? So there are many such schemes. Will you be more emphasizing on through your own branches, or you will be also leveraging these mechanisms as well?
So as I mentioned, the biggest network which we have created in terms of the banking correspondent network provides a series of services, not necessarily the payments. Of course, they can open an account for financial inclusion account can be opened by them. We open almost 20,000 to 25,000 financial inclusion accounts every day through this customer service points. I think it's a very large number of accounts which are open. And we also use this customer service points for account opening, payment services, and going forward, the collections, the asset management. It could be the crop loan sourcing or agricultural gold loan sourcing. So the engagement with the customer service points is going to be intensive, what we call banking correspondent engagement. Apart from that, Reserve Bank of India also had given recently liberalized guidelines in terms of having a co-lending arrangement. In the last few years, as part of the financial inclusion initiatives of the Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India, there's a very strong ecosystem of microfinancial institutions and the NBFCs which has developed in the rural areas. They are providing the last mile connectivity because of their engagement with the people on the ground. So what this model of co-lending, what RBI has now asked the lenders like us to look at it, we have the trust element, we have the customer engagement which helps us to get the deposits, which in essence means that we have the capital. And the microfinancial institutions and NBFCs have developed the last mile connectivity at an affordable cost. See, the biggest cost in rural finance is the cost of administering credit is expensive in the sense that you have cost of collections apart from the cost of lending. The small value credit, the mainstream banks find it difficult to engage with because of certain cost rigidities which the large banks like us face. So we are trying to have a large number of co-lending arrangement, both with NBFCs and microfinancial institutions, both for equipment financing like tractor financing, and also for financing agriculture and allied activities. For instance, we are entering into co-lending arrangement for joint lending group where self-help groups can be financed. And even the women who want to set up a small enterprise on their own, moving away from the group financing, there also we are entering into co-lending arrangement. And another dimension, what you mentioned in terms of cooperatives, I think as we are all aware, the large scale fragmentation of land holdings, has not facilitated the amount of use of, what we call farm equipment and all. The individual farmers find it difficult to afford. So the government of India has been pushing formation of farmers producers organizations, what we call FPOs. And there are quite a few NBFCs and MFIs we are engaged in promoting, nurturing, and financing these FPOs. Even there, we are trying to have a co-lending and alliances. So the idea is that while we leverage our network of branches as well as banking correspondents, we are also engaging with these ecosystem players to expand our reach through them and also make the credit and banking services available to the people at the rural areas.
Thank you. You said that you have 50% of your branches in the rural areas now. And beyond the branches, of course, the various mechanisms you articulated, which goes beyond the branches also in rural penetration. But if we really take the 4 regions of India, north, south, east, and west, in terms of your either from a loan portfolio, I mean, what will be the distribution across these 4 regions? Be it through your own branches or be it through the NBFCs and other mechanisms, very broadly.
If you're talking about the rural finance, obviously, certain states have higher credit absorption capacity, resulting in what we call higher CD ratio, in the sense the amount of deposits which we mobilize and the amount of loans which we lend in many of the states depends on the credit absorption capacity. And the credit absorption capacity differs from geography to geography and also within the geography, rural and urban areas. But broadly speaking, I think south and western states have a larger capacity to absorb credit in the rural areas, both in terms of agri-financing, allied activities, and more importantly, the self-help group financing, which is a very large component of rural finance, is a large concentration of this rural finance happens in the southern and western states. When compared to eastern and northern states, I think more particularly the focus currently for State Bank of India has been northeastern states, where we find that there are ways of increasing the rural financing there through innovative methods. It could be FPOs, it could be cluster financing. For instance, in the large states like, large parts of Northeast, including Ladakh and Leh, Jammu and Kashmir, we have had very specific cluster financing approach to rural areas. It could be allied activities like piggery or silkworm rearing, or even in Ladakh, for example, we are trying to work out a solution, asafoetida cultivation. I think India doesn't have much of an asafoetida, hing, what they call. But Ladakh is more suitable for hing cultivation. Our approach towards rural finance in those areas where the credit absorption has been low historically is to develop certain value chain financing. It is not only about financing hing cultivation. How do you develop the hing processing plants and hing marketing agency tie-ups? What we call value chain financing in a cluster-based model is something which we are experimenting with states where rural finance so far has been very low. But to be specific to your question, yes, there are geographical imbalances, but not in terms of the banks not making efforts. I think it's mainly in account of the absorption in those areas being lower. So currently, I think the government of India is also asking, RBI is also asking. For example, Reserve Bank of India had divided the whole 700 plus districts in India into aspirational districts. A part of almost 150 to 160 districts are identified as aspirational districts, mainly because the credit absorption, credit deployment is low in those states. So if we lend in those rural areas, we get higher credit for priority sector loans to incentivize the banks to lend there. So our focus has been, how do we reach out to those people in these aspirational districts, both by way of traditional and conventional banking, as well as through agri-fintechs and digital financing modes.
Thank you. In fact, me being from Bengal, and you also actually brought up the topic which I was next going to bring up, the concept of this aspirational district, which was announced recently. And I think there are around 116 such aspirational districts being identified. And I was going through the list and I figured out that the concentration of such aspirational districts in Bengal is near negligible. And it's very heartening to understand that while you definitely are depending on the credit absorption capability of the states, but you are also from your side trying to improve the credit absorption capabilities of the sub-states which are poor. So if an aspirational district that way are those districts where you will be actually more focusing on, and that not being very much in Bengal, the concentration being so low. So the reasons for that are, is there any thought for you from your side also that what Bengal can do?
No, I think, see, our engagement in West Bengal also is very significant. But as I mentioned, most of the eastern states, the credit deployment is lower, while they contribute significantly to the deposits of the bank. So it gets translated into a lower CD ratio. So what we said that one is, of course, how do we reach out in terms of the conventional agri financing by way of KCC? But these states also have a significant non-agricultural activities or allied activities. It could be fisheries, inland fisheries, or marine fisheries where, a significant coastline is available. So these are the activities which we are now having a focused approach in many of the districts identified. And we have given clear, budgets to our circle offices in these states, and have identified through NABARD and other credit plans which are available, that how we increase the focused lending to them. The second part is that I think the agri infrastructure is also very low in these states. Whether it could be farm gate infrastructure like small warehouses where the farmers can store their produce, or the larger warehouses, cold storages, micro food processing units. These are some of the activities which I think these states have to undertake. Either through the government, state government initiative, we've been working with the state and central level agencies. How do we increase the agri infrastructure? And also we are very, very, very seriously pushing 3 major agri schemes which are floated last year as part of the Atmanirbhar project. One is on the agri infrastructure fund and animal husbandry fund, fisheries fund. And fourth one, of course, microprocessing, improvement of the microprocessing units. These are the flagship schemes where we are trying to identify the beneficiaries who can set up a small, either cold storage or a small warehouse or a micro food processing unit. Because see, I think what is important for these eastern states is that from a conventional, regular food crops like rice, how do they get migrated to a cash crop or even, increased rural income from the allied activities like dairying, fisheries, and what I mentioned in terms of the cash crops. There is another element, of course, all these activities also require a significant supply chain model, whether the proper dairies are available to procure the milk. How do we start lending to the small milk farmer who has got connectivity to the dairying? We have recently started in many states. I think we are trying to experiment in West Bengal also. We have an end-to-end digital solution called Safal. It's a smart way of lending to dairy farmers. We engage with the the large dairies, and we ask them to give us the list of people who are supplying milk to them. They are brought under the value chain. The whole chain is financed in the sense that the dairy is financed to procure the milk, and the procurement centers are also financed if the chilling plants are required, and the logistic support in terms of the vans are also financed. The farmers are also extended the finance so that their cash flows are not impacted. I think this we have done in several states. We are also trying to do in eastern states. So broadly, I think the engagement is there, and micro level planning is being done in those states. There's a good opportunity for agri tech companies to come and work with State Bank of India, which in the last 12 to 18 months, I've been engaging with a series of agri-fintechs to bring them on board and help us to find solutions to reach out these people in a very cost-effective manner.
Mr. Sethi, I mean, if there are agri-fintech organizations, not just in Bengal, I'm talking this about any Indian, any place, and if they're small, but they're doing good work, they have a good innovation model, how would they actually get themselves associated with SBI? Because I can see there are a lot of such small firms who do not really know where to go to, how they can access, but they're doing extremely good work. Their model, their technological architecture, what they have created is extremely good. So how would they do that? Do you have any simple mechanism by which anybody who doesn't have an access to the Bombay SBI headquarters, they do not know how to reach out there from the districts of Bengal can reach out easily?
So what we have done is that there is a formal process of onboarding agri-fintechs because we have certain guidelines, the board mandated arrangement, because there's a huge ecosystem which is developing. While we do understand that many of these agri-fintechs are smaller in operation, they may not really compare in the scale what we do, everything what we do in scale. But as I said, we want to provide a strategic platform for them to come on and work with us. So we have recently done a RFP process to onboard a significant number of fintech. We have shortlisted about 25 across the country. This is, of course, we would like to make it an ongoing process, not a one-time process. The first batch of agri-fintechs, what we are doing is, we have asked them to do a proof of concept. They are in the field to make us understand what is the solution which they are bringing, how the solution is going to be helpful both to the end users, that is my farming community or rural financing, and SBI, in between the fintech, how it is going to get benefited. The proof of concept is, as we speak, is going on. But what we have also realized that, as you mentioned, Mr. Dasgupta, is that there are a lot of people coming at the district level, at the state level. So we have authorized our circle offices. We have 17 circles operating across the country, including one in Kolkata, that any of the agri-fintech can reach out to our local head office there. It could be a chief general manager who is head of the local head office, or a DGM agri-business unit. This information is available on the website of State Bank of India. They can reach out to them. And an email can be a better way of reaching out. And somebody from State Bank of India will get in touch with them. And a proper presentation is required to be made by the agri-fintech. What is the solution? How it is going to be helpful to the customers of State Bank of India, both in terms of process improvement as well as product improvement. So I think maybe, based on your suggestion, we would also create a separate section in our corporate website where agri-fintech can just place their profile there and somebody will be able to reach out. I will work in the next fortnight to ensure that there is some place where in our website somebody can leave that their profile, and some from State Bank of India, people will reach out to them.
Thank you. I think in the present economic survey, it was also highlighted that there would be a propensity, or there will be a push from the government to move from the water guzzling products to the products which are not so water guzzling. It could be like oil seeds or pulses, and also a few other products, and also to an extent moving more towards the animal husbandry.
True.
So that the water guzzling products are reduced in terms of. Will therefore that have an impact on your lending portfolio also? Will you now be encouraging more such producers and animal husbandry? With, I think they've named it as a blue revolution or something like that, and not the green anymore, the animal part. So would your lending portfolio be more oriented now towards those kind of producers and towards the animal husbandry more? My question has a reason also. It is also to know, because people who are out here more into that kind of production and into animal husbandry can get to know whether they will have any more advantages in terms of seeking. And also I have a typical, again, a Bengal interest, because many of these areas like animal husbandry and some of the products identified as non-water guzzling is also very much Bengal's produce. So in that case, will Bengal also can come up in the priority lending of the State Bank?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think I mentioned with the specific reference to the eastern states, where, you know, the rural financing is relatively lower than many other states, our focus has been, and obviously if you receive many of the budgetary proposals in the current year, focus on what we call smart agriculture. It could be, and we also have realized that almost 40% of the rural income comes from allied activities. It could be dairying, it could be fishery, it could be poultry, piggery. These are the ones which contribute 40% to the rural economy. And that is also a stable source of income from many of the rural families because of, you know, the uncertainties in the crop production. They always fall back upon this. But how do we move these allied activities from a what is called, you know, sustenance-oriented activities to economically viable activities? I think that is the focus which the government is asking us to do, both in terms of bringing animal husbandry, which is a small unit of 2 to 3 animals where people manage, bring them under KCC. It is not about just financing the animals and forget about it. How do you give a Kisan credit card to this animal husbandry? And how do you give Kisan credit to a fishery farmer? How do you give a KCC to a piggery? I think to simplify and hassle-free lending to these allied activities, one of the major points for the last 1 year we've been pursuing. And that persuasion will continue, number one. Number two, I think there are 2-3 important announcements which have come. One is chemical-free farming. They are not calling just about organic farming. I think the reduced dependence on the fertilizers and the pesticides and move towards a sustainable agriculture is something which the budget has spoken about. So we are working on how do we develop this both in terms of the individual farm level or at the FPO level, and more importantly through corporate engagement, either the contract farming or there are a lot of corporate relationships what we have. For example, ITC operating from Calcutta itself, that how if ITC is trying to develop this sustainable farming or chemical-free farming, how do we engage with ITC and the farming community to develop an ecosystem to promote this chemical-free farming? Similarly, I think in the rain-fed areas, millet farming is another one which the government has announced in the budget, where the outlay on the farm level is very small. The challenge for millet farming is that what are the backward and forward linkages, whether the right seed is available, and after the millets are procured, how are they going to be utilized and made available through the formal marketing system? I think this is also another focus area what we are doing. As you said, oil seeds continues to be a primary focus area for the government. While we currently do not have any special scheme for oil seeds, what we have done in many states is that if the state procurement agencies want some financing option for the oil seed procurement, we've been supporting them. The other fourth important element which the budget has supported, again, which is very good for the ecosystem, Agri fintech system, Agri startup system, where I think probably they would be having a greater influence in all these initiatives which I have spoken about on the last mile connectivity is the co-investment model, which they said that the NABARD will come with co-investment model where the equity support can be made to the startups so that they can pursue in the Agri fintech areas. Maybe if going forward, once the system is fully understood, we work with the NABARD also where we can also be part of the co-investor, apart from providing the credit support, whether we can provide the equity support. So in effect, I think the ecosystem is moving towards as what you actually called the water guzzling, the crops to the cash crops and allied activities more particularly, so that a continued source of income can be generated for the rural folk.
Thank you. You actually opened up so many new areas. I mean, you gave indications of so many new areas in which people can benefit. Thanks very much. But while definitely the government always, I mean, from the post-colonial, post-independence, always has a major emphasis on the agriculture of the country in terms of allocations of the budgets, money, the rural financing and all that. But whatever the reasons may be, in this budget, we haven't actually got anything really directly related to an agricultural funding or agricultural budget. And also, the rural development, the budget provision is lesser than the revised estimate of the last year. So therefore, no announcement of anything on the agriculture, plus a little lessening of the rural development. Will that have any impact of the huge plans that SBI has, you articulated, in terms of the rural financing, because of the budget being silent or also reducing the budgetary provisions from the last year's revised estimate?
In terms of the budgetary announcement, while there are no great focus on the allocations, the articulation in relation to what I mentioned is very important from the rural and agri financing part, because it actually develops a new vistas for us to lend. It is not only the traditional conventional crop loans, we are moving towards sustainable agriculture, we are moving towards farm equipment, mechanization, and agri startup ecosystem. In fact, while it may sound a little advanced in its approach in terms of Kisan drones, which they announced in the budget, I myself am involved, engagement with one of the universities in agriculture universities. The drones can substantially bring down the cost of cultivation, either in terms of application of fertilizers or the pesticides and the monitoring of the farm level activities. So these are all very significant announcements, not necessarily that the financial allocations are more emphasized on that. So the financing of rural areas, more in specific reference to the agri and allied, is actually shifting from a conventional crop loan based approach to how do I finance the ecosystem as a whole. And a group of farmers, as an entity, are how do we bring the new technology? See, today the technology in the farming, if you really speak, have stopped with the tractors. Beyond that, nothing much has progressed. Maybe the harvesters, but these are all high cost equipment. We have to move towards low cost technology with a huge development of technological initiatives which are available in the market. So the whole financing landscape has to undergo a change. The banking system, NBFCs, MFIs are thinking in a different paradigm, that how do you engage with the farming community to bring the technology to the forefront and increase the productivity. For example, we are working with a large number of small and marginal farmers in Maharashtra area through our foundation. Again, it's not about traditional banker I'm talking, that as a banker involved in the ecosystem, we are working with the SBI Foundation, that we have identified 200 small and marginal farmers at the farm level, what improved productivity we can bring to them. And then if we, in the 3-year program, identify the best agronomic practices, best mechanization practices, best technology, and we would like to replicate across the country in the small and marginal farmers. I think it's not only in terms of extending the financing, in terms of engagement as an institution with a significant presence in the rural areas, that how do you improve the rural livelihoods and the rural productivity, both on the farm and off the farm, is a philosophy which we are pursuing. I think I'm sure this is the bigger outcome of the budgetary announcements or the government initiatives than the allocations themselves.
This one, since you mentioned about about you as well as the government with major emphasis on the technology. And of course, that is really heartening. Drones particularly, which definitely can do so much in enhancing the productivity. And the government finance minister, honorable finance minister, also announced about the government's intention to boost up the drones and in the agriculture in the budget. But one of the problems that when I interacted with some small drone manufacturing people, usually the drone manufacturing people are small startups type of people who are working in that, having not a huge capital with them, that the drones to successfully operate, or even they to run their pilot, they need to buy those cadastral maps, which is the maps which giving the land units and the parcels. And usually they are buying it at a very huge price because there are no cadastral maps available, and if available, they have to buy it at a huge price. Like, I mean, sometimes they have to pay 40, 50 lakhs also to, in some places they were saying that they were asked to buy those cadastral maps. Now, how can we really resolve that problem? I mean, will that be financed also? Will they be getting certain financing to buy those maps or buy certain ancillary things for their drones activities?
No, we can definitely look at the financing option. But what I understand, Mr. Dasgupta, I may not really be clear on that. There are well-settled agri-tech companies which are already having this access to the cadastral maps. They have developed their own technology. In fact, I am told that some of the smaller drone companies are working in association with them. While most of these geosatellite companies, I mean, who use the geosatellite in conjunction with the cadastral maps and the digital land records, which we use a lot of their services in terms of getting the land holding records, the cropping patterns in many of the rural areas. They are interested in working with the smaller startups which are strong in the drone technology, and they are willing to share the cadastral maps, the related data with them. I'm not very sure, but a couple of people whom I have spoken, they are open to working with this drone technology companies and provide solutions, a combination of that, or maybe, on the sharing pay as you use basis. This is what I understand. Probably the drone companies, smaller companies are not required to get the access to the cadastral maps on their own. That is what I'm told, but I'm not very sure. But the financing part we have not examined so far because nobody has really approached. If anybody is interested in that, I request if any one of them is there on the call to send out a mail to me. I will get my department to get it examined.
That's really very, 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 very assuring. Maybe we can, I just put the last one in terms of the agriculture and food part, then we'll move a little bit. I am mindful of your time because I think you have to have a sharp stop at 2:30. Yes. And it's 2:13, so maybe another 10-12 minutes we still have. So my last thing on the agricultural, once again, agriculture and food related. What is this micro food processing enterprises? I mean, does it also come under your portfolio? Is SBI also looking into micro food processing? How different it is from an agricultural? Is it a rural economy oriented stuff, the micro food processing? And if you could just throw some light on your views on these micro food processing.
Yeah. There are a lot of micro units which operate in this food in the rural areas. They are not large scale, fruit pulp producers and all. They are at the farm level. Somebody cultivating turmeric, for example, we have large number of farmers cultivating turmeric in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. The micro food processor unit is set up to process the turmeric, make into turmeric powder, and sell it in the organized market. These food processing units, it could be either turmeric, chili powder, and a host of spices, spice grounding units. And these are, while they are dependent on the agro-based industries, what the government has realized that many of them have no, and for example, I've been to Odisha recently. Large number of self-help groups are involved in making sattu, right? Which is distributed through midday meal scheme of the government of Odisha. These are all micro food processing units with a limited investment. But when they want to expand, setting up anyway is funded by the banks through the group financing. But what government came out with this scheme, the improvement of or upgradation of micro food processing units. If they have set up, but they want to either increase the capacity or go for high-speed machines or improved machines, that is also funded by the banks today under the scheme which is floated by the government. There is a subsidy element, there is a subvention element there. And because it qualifies for priority sector lending, a lot of banks are interested. But again, the issue is that the micro food processing unit should have proper marketing linkages. That is where I think a lot of ecosystem is developing. And there are agro fintechs which are supplying the equipment, helping the farmer or group of farmers to set up this micro food processor unit. And they're also helping to link the marketing. Either it could be supermarkets or it could be, government procurement agencies. So there is a huge potential for micro food processing units in the country today. Not necessarily with a huge investment. It's a smaller investment. I request, the corporates who are there on the call or any of the tech companies who are in this call, I think we have to develop this micro food processing capability in the rural areas, because as we are all aware, most of the people do not have the holding capacity. They just make the distress sale in the market. They may not realize the correct value to the produce. And and value addition, which happens to the micro processing units, will help the farmers to get better actualization for their produce.
Thank you. I think I'll just keep the last 10 minutes for questions from the audience. But before I move on to the audience, of course, staying on the micro food enterprises, one good thing is the government has, I think, tripled the budget allocation in this year. From close to 300 crore, they took it up to 900 crore because they want to formalize this sector, which of course is very good. And SBI, of course, will be a major catalyst in that sector. Moving a little bit from the agriculture, food to the other parts of the rural, and that's my last question, is more on the logistics, infrastructure, and the housing. Because the logistics and the infrastructure will play a huge role in improving the agricultural products of the rural to make them come to the plates of the consumer. And I think there is a major emphasis on the rural, this Gramin Sadak Yojana scheme, enhancement of their budgets also. Is SBI also lending, putting in their investments, monies into that scheme or into the logistics and infrastructure improvement of the rural as well?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I think the logistics, particularly at the farm gate, is what is being pushed under Agri Infrastructure Fund. It could be warehouse, it could be cold storage. The other part is Central Warehousing Corporation is also planning a large scale setting up of cold storages. So we are working with CWC to have a financing arrangement. I think they are trying to have a model where the land will be procured. They will help the farmers or a group of farmers to set up the cold storage, and that financing is likely to be extended by banks like State Bank of India. So that is one major venture probably would come soon on that. And other logistics is also in terms of the supply chain financing itself. As I mentioned, I've been associated with a task force where the government has formed in terms of recommending how do we improve the supply chain financing in the country, particularly agri supply chain. We made a lot of recommendations. Obviously, the government is examining them. One of the important things is that there are various nodes in the supply chain, right? It could be the production node, it could be the storage node, processing node, and the eventual fork, the last mile supply node. So how do we make all these nodes, the interdependent nodes, to be financed by the banks is very critical. It is not only logistics. Logistics is an important node, we do agree. But these interdependent nodes have to be realized. And in fact, we suggested that NABARD, as the apex organization for agri financing, should identify these supply chain nodes and work out, what could be the financing models. Because see, the biggest challenge in many of this rural financing, particularly in the logistics area, is the people who are willing to set up do not have adequate understanding of the financing. They cannot even make a draft project report. So the project report, becomes complicated when you have various models. We said that why don't we have a uniform model with some 10-15% variation in the cost, which can be easily adopted. So the logistics have to be the form of financing of logistics should be simple, and a replicable model across the country is something which we proposed. Hopefully, the State Bank of India, with association with NABARD, will try to work out a model for this logistics support, so that anybody who's a rural entrepreneur who would like to set up any support, logistic support. He knows how to prepare the project report and approach the lending agency.
Yeah, I think that will be very good. And do you also feel that there is a certain lack of an uniform warehousing policy in the country? I mean, the TNWR and all those kinds of, there's a uniformity to be brought into the warehousing policy, which will help you to finance the warehousing much more.
Yeah, I think again the warehousing financing is a is a very diversified area, in the sense that you have producer loan where the farmer has his produce, surplus produce. He wants to put in a warehouse till he gets a better price. That's what we call producer loans. Then you have sugar mills, large scale food processing units which require warehousing support. And then you have at the other end about the FCI and CWCs having the large warehouse facilities. But both for the biggest challenge for the financing part of the warehouse is the credibility of the warehouse collateral manager.
Yeah.
In the sense that, the ecosystem is still not developed. The developed ecosystem is there, but the very few players as collateral managers. And their ability to have large volumes is capital intensive. They're not able to deploy the manpower, technology. So one solution definitely is the electronic negotiable warehouse receipt. We've been working with the WDRA to simplify the process, and also I think reduce the cost of monitoring. See, the monitoring cost, if it is too high, the individual farmer is not motivated to move towards negotiable warehouse receipt.
Correct.
While the easiest solution is to have a regulatory push and say no bank will finance other than ENWR. But I think that is not the immediate solution. My view is that we need to have both private collateral managers to exist, with a more oversight coming through WDRA, with a lesser cost implications. I think that is going to be deepening the system of warehouse.
Fine. I'll just give you two questions which have come from the audience also. So that's not too late with the agriculture. That how interested bank in two areas. One is agri-tourism and one is rural MSME.
Agri-tourism and?
Rural MSME. The small and medium enterprises in the industrial side.
I think as far as SME concerned, we don't distinguish between the urban and rural. The location neutral, as long as, if you really see, a large part of MSME is on rural area, because there are quite a lot of agro industries which are MSME in nature. So large scale financing happens. By far, SBI probably is the largest financer of rice mills in the country, right? And even the small oil seeds processing units, groundnut processing units. So the huge number of MSMEs in the rural areas are financed. So if any activity which is not agro related, then what we want to know is that whether there is adequate market. Either it should have the raw material supply where the location is there, or the market should be there. Otherwise, the rural MSMEs which are not agro-based will find difficulty in their area. So I don't think there is any distinction between rural and the urban MSMEs as far as financing is concerned.
Another one was an agri-tourism. How interested is bank in agri-tourism?
Yeah, I've not really thought about agri-tourism. We've been working on eco-tourism in many states, particularly in Odisha and all. But if there are opportunities in agri-tourism, I'll definitely be willing to look at it.
I also appreciate, because State Bank, I think, is the most advanced. I mean, not just from the rural, and I really deeply appreciate it is not just you are here and I'm praising. In your digital platform, we consider it as an user. As a user, we consider it as the most advanced. I mean, even compared to the international banks also. It's so good. But extending that same digital concept to the rural, I appreciate the novelties of your ideas, like the farmer-to-farmer connectivity, which you are trying to establish. And as you mentioned, the digitalization of the value chain, the entire value chain to be financed, and therefore adoption of new technologies like blockchain and others to come in, which can really help in the entire integration of the agri value chain and therefore help you in financing. So maybe at the end, if you can, because there are a lot of technologically motivated people also in the audience who are in the digital startup. So therefore, your thoughts on such digitalization in the rural sector, if you can just touch upon that, please.
There are two elements. I'm glad that you have raised this, Mr. Dasgupta. In fact, a lot of people keep asking me that you are doing so much for your retail consumers. You give personal loan in 3 clicks, home loan is sourced on the go. So what is that we are doing for the rural population? When we talk about rural population, I think the biggest audience for us in the rural areas obviously are the farmers. So we have in our flagship mobile application called YONO, we have YONO Krishi. And I request all of you, if you have not ever tried, because if you have YONO app, just go into the YONO Krishi part. YONO Krishi part, what we have done is that it is an ecosystem player. We have today 2 sections in YONO Krishi called Mandi and Mitra. YONO Mitra is essentially the farmer information is available in almost all the Indian languages. We have tied up with the universities, we have tied up the research institutions, we have tied up with some of the farm input manufacturers like IFCO to provide whatever website information they have, it is available on YONO Krishi also, what we call YONO Mitra. YONO Mandi is something which we are further developing in terms of giving the pricing on agri commodities. We are in the next stage, we would like to actually integrate with the commodity exchanges in terms of the information as well as fulfillment. And we are also working with a lot of ecosystem players like tractor manufacturers, equipment manufacturers. How do we bring them onto YONO Krishi? And both for sale part as well as custom hiring part. I think custom hiring is also a big thing in the equipment financing. So what we want to facilitate through the YONO Krishi. The third piece I would like to mention that today, the annual renewal or annual review of crop loan, which the farmers are required to do, if they are having a YONO app, they can review their crop loan in 3 clicks without visiting the branch. It's a paperless process. Sitting at their home, they can review. Otherwise, they have to come to the branch, sign a paper, give the information, documents. Nothing is required. In 3 clicks, they can complete the YONO-based crop loan review process. And we are trying to build in the process is Fasal Bima Yojana cover is also automatically taken for insurance. So a lot of enablers which are provided to the farmers is one thing which and the other one which I mentioned, Safal for the dairy farmers is also through YONO Krishi platform. The second piece what we are trying to work, again we have realized that the whole ecosystem is changed. You have satellite images available. You have large number of state governments providing the digital records today. And then you have agro-fintechs and agro-tech startups which are coming with ancillary services being provided. We are completely revamping our agri-tech stack to integrate all this, what we call API-based approach. So maybe, a lot of tech companies will have an opportunity to work with us. Whenever we come, it will be an open tendering process to bring them on board. And we want to develop this agri-tech stack in a manner that what we made available, as I'm glad that you brought this mobile application, YONO SBI, would be having a state-of-the-art agri-tech stack, both for internal processing as well as the assisted journeys and self-assisted journeys for the rural population. I think there's a huge amount of engagement which we are doing with the technology companies. Maybe some of them may have an opportunity to work with us. Today, we have half a dozen startups working on the YONO Krishi platform itself. So there's a good opportunity there. Yes.
Mr. Sethi, it's 2:29, so I will not hold you back anymore with 1 more minute left because you wanted a stop at 2:30. I am really, really very grateful before I pass on to Mr. Chakraborty once again to conclude the mission, conclude the session. I express my deepest gratitude because bringing the biggest player in the finance market, also who is playing in the sector without which India is nothing. So the biggest sector of the India with the biggest financier together was really a very good, interesting exercise for us. And I really deeply appreciate your huge, insightful contributions in this session. Thank you very much, Mr. Sethi.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chakraborty, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sethi, for such a brilliant presentations to the entire team, because we are receiving questions after questions, but you have already answered most of their queries also. And Mr. Dasgupta, wonderful moderations. lot of things to learn from you also. That the avenues you have touched for today's discussions is really praiseworthy for us. And before I conclude, we are also requesting lots of requests from the university fourth year students and sixth year students. They are telling banking operation has totally changed what it was 20 years back now. So whether SBI could have a SBI chair in some of the institutions in the agriculture, or in the fourth year, there could be a 6 days orientation program so that they could become, because ultimately they are going to join as the probationary officers and they will make this thing. So if you can take this for future planning, I think because many things from Vidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, from Uttar Banga Krishi Vishwavidyalaya, from Vishwavarati, OUAT, we are getting these sorts of requests. So this is only for your kind considerations, if you can take it forward to your planning process also. But wonderful learning for me is all learning. Our entire audience is enriched for your this thing from Bengal Chamber of Commerce. Deepest thanks to you for your participation, and thanks to Dasgupta for coordinating these entire things. We are obliged and thankful to both of you. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. I think we had a wonderful session with the biggest banker, and it was moderated by your past president, Mr. Dasgupta, and it was a real learning, and we are getting constant informations through our WhatsApp and others about the effectiveness of these discussions and how to roll it out forward. But our next session is also equally important, and none other than Mr. Hemendra Mathur has agreed to moderate this session. So, welcome, Mr. Mathur. My sincere apologies for you to reschedule this program, and once again, deepest apologies to you for making this request, and grateful that you have accepted this request also, sir.
Thanks, Jayanta. No issues at all. And
Yeah. And
this session.
And I am also thankful for the other panelists also. So this session is a very, very important. What for the take from the SBI MD we had just now we have heard. I think a lot of implications are there. And when we studied Mr. Hemendra Mathur's various publications, we have found many things what he has told is appearing there. So it is really, I think, immediately after the session, Mr. Mathur's session is most important. Here, I will take the liberty and request that Mr. Mathur, though is a moderator, but here we like to hear from you also for 10 to 15 minutes, exclusively from you on the content of this subject also. After Mr. Ranadeep and Mr. Kalia presentation is over also. So we like to hear from you about the way forward of these things. So before that, I like to introduce you to the audience. Mr. Ranadeep Das is the CEO and director of InGreens, a good friend of mine also, and from the same institute we have passed. He played leadership roles with two prominent education firms between 2002 and 2012 as a CXO and built campuses across India and Singapore. Founded InGreens during 2012 and 13 with an aim to develop an industry agnostic alternative distribution channel for rural and India. Incubated at STP IIT Kharagpur, InGreens received Rural Innovation Fund from NABARD and became accredited tech partner of CDAC for M-Governance. And welcome, Ranadeep, to this session. We are delighted to have you in this panel. We are waiting for your deliberations when Mr. Mathur will coordinate this session also. We are also thankful to Mr. Deepak Kalia, Senior Vice President, Growth and Strategy of DIHAT. DIHAT, I think, is the sensational story of Agri-Tech. So, thank you, Mr. Kalia, for accepting our invitation. And Mr. Kalia has 36 plus years of experience with Mitsubishi Corporation Mr. Kalia joins as Senior Vice President Growth Strategy. During his last 10 years with Mitsubishi, he was responsible for Life Science Department. He was also the head of new business development to study startups in India also. So with this discussion and with Mr. Mathur, more than a moderator, to hear from his advices, his suggestions and his guidelines for the way forward. The topic of this today is Market Connect, which is the foundation or the basic part of this conclave also. That's Rural Connect, Market Connect, Tech Finance Driven Marketing Strategy. I now request and Mr. Mathur, though I need not introduce him again and again. Mr. Mathur, a small profile I'm just giving you for the today's audience, particularly those who are attending this thing. Mr. Hemendra Mathur, over 25 years of experience in venture capital, private equity, management consulting and investment banking in India, South Asia, Europe and USA. About 13 years of experience in early stage and growth capital investing. About 12 years of management consulting and investment banking experience in the food, agribusiness, retail and consumer good industry for corporate as well as the government of India and state governments. So with such a vast experience, knowledge, vast understanding, I think we're privileged to have you, Mr. Mathur, as a moderator, and thankful to the other panelists also. Now I request Mr. Mathur to take it forward for this session also. Please.
Thanks, Jayanta, for this opportunity. And yeah, I think we heard from Mr. Sethi. He's the champion and an ambassador for application of innovations in the financing, especially agriculture financing. So I think that was a great start to the day. And maybe we can begin this session. Of course, I can say whatever I have to say, but I would like to bring in the panelists first. I want to hear from them, and before I share my views. I'm a bit more familiar with Dehat. Maybe I can start with Deepak if that's okay.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, Deepak, so of course Dehat, that's an introduction. I've been observing your journey from the day Shashank and his team started. And it's great to see the way this whole platform is being built, not just selling inputs to the farmers, but also building a very strong procurement platform, building market linkages, building post-harvest value addition, and also enabling farmers with the right data and advisory. So one of the very few, I would say, full-stack platforms in the tech space. Would love to learn from you how, what is the role of technology in building a platform like this? Essentially, if a target is to reach millions and millions of farmers, which I think Dehat has already accomplished. So that's one question for you. And second question is, since the Dehat model is largely based on micro entrepreneurs, how do you see that ecosystem developing and their willingness to adopt new technologies? And what has been Dehat experience in onboarding so many micro entrepreneurs, working with them, and how do you see this model spanning out in time to come? For you to unmute.
Yes. So first of all, thank you, inviting me on this platform. I am very happy to represent Dehat here. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So I'll just give a little brief of Dehat, just to update what is the journey Dehat had. So Dehat just completed 10 years in February, 6th February. So we will be celebrating our 10 years anniversary also, which was to be done in February, but it will be done in March somewhere. And see, this journey has been possible, that we have been expanding very fast, is only because of technology. So I think the great vision of the co-founders has been that if we have to grow and make this business successful on pan-India basis and can replicate this model in any country, the only possibility is that we have a great technical introduction. And we have done technical intervention at every stage. And whenever we are adding any new services, any new business, any new geography, our first thing to study is how we can bring technology into it and use the technology. So we call ourselves that we are a digital model company, which means that digitally enabled, physically present. So we have 1,250 employees already in there. When I joined on 7th October, just about 4 months back, after completing 36 years in Mitsubishi, and I have set up a few joint ventures, and one of them was an agrochemicals, and that's how I know they are from last 4 years. And that time I decided that okay, I will work for them. So these when I joined, it was 450 people. So in just 4 months, we are 1,250 people. So we are not totally depending upon digital intervention. We are not an e-platform. But what we are is that we will want to digitally enable our business, but physically present, because the business in which we are of agriculture and our customers being farmer, I think it is very necessary for them to have our people physically present with them. So that is number one, model on which we work, and I think this is how it's going to happen for many companies. Secondly, we are a marketplace where we are helping farmers to take all the inputs which they want. We are not just one brand company. We have our own brand products also coming now. But our idea is that whatever in that area a farmer wants the material, which products are to be used, we are supplying them. Now coming to digitally, how we are enabling this. First of all, we have two apps which we are using. One app is for our micro entrepreneurs, which are called Dihat centers, and one app is directly for the farmers. Of course, with the mobile, smart mobile phones not available with every farmer, it's a little difficulty we are facing with the farmers. But we have many farmers who are registering directly on our app. But when the farmer is coming at our micro entrepreneur level or the Dihat centers, that is the time we are asking our Dihat centers to onboard those farmers digitally. So what is the job of this app? The job of this app is that whenever there is a demand by the farmer, that demand is aggregated by the app. So that is all connected. Nothing is on paper, means outside the papers. So that is connected. If we have to make a supply, that goes with the our app. Supply chain arrangement through our app. So what happens because of this? What is the advantage we are giving it to it? Number one, that our Dihat center, whatever they are doing, we have a control to see, because everything is happening through the app. So we don't want our micro entrepreneurs to flinch any farmer, any single person. So that is why if a sales price is fixed, he has to sell the product at that sales price, because it is through the app. So this is one way we are controlling our Dihat. Secondly, the supply chain arrangement, the supply demand aggregation, that is also happening through app. So very easy to settle by the end of the year, end of 6 months, to meet the stock and all that. We are doing barcoding for every product, our own barcoding, so that we have a traceability of our product. And this traceability we want to give to our suppliers. So our suppliers, if he wants to know how much quantity is sold in which area, that also, which brand of theirs have done good or bad, that also is there. Now this is one part of the digital intervention. Other is that we have farm intelligence mechanism, which is called FIMO. So in that, we are using satellite and our data collection points on the field, and we are generating that data, and that data is creating farm intelligence. So we handle farm intelligence at the farm level, at the farmer level, and at the village level, district level, like that. So we have that kind of data available for anybody. Now most of the companies, they generally are, using or doing the business by giving input to the farmers, and nobody has, worked on their biggest pain point, and that is how to take their output. And I'm very proud to say here is that the heart, 70% of the business is output procurement, and 30% is the input supply. And 28% is input supply, and 2% is financial services and the insurance. So now the latest we are adding is the financial services and the insurance to the farmer through this app. And I think this is the area which is going to grow very fast from now onwards. And this financing, of course, is done by the NBFCs and other companies. We don't have an in-house financing for them. But with this financing, I think our number of strength of the Dehat centers and the farmers connect with us, which is about 10 lakh now, will grow very fast. Today, we have 4,200 Dehat centers across 7 states. And by March, our target is 8,400, just double within the next 1.5 months, whatever 40 days we can. So this is the speed at which we are able to grow because of this technological intervention. Thank you.
Thanks, Deepak. Very, very comprehensive view and very well summarized the entire model and the role of technology in driving input, output, and now financing. I think that's a very interesting intervention. And clearly, I see Agri FinTech as an opportunity for players like Dehat, given the amount of data that you're collecting and the amount of digitization that you're doing. I think that is so comforting for bankers and NBFCs, as you mentioned. And if you are also collecting data about farmer, I think that also help bankers assess the risk and also mitigate risk in some ways. So I am also bullish on the financing opportunity that is becoming available, purely driven by digitization of the supply chain. I'll come back to you, Deepak. I think it's time to go to Ranadeep. Ranadeep, I don't know Ingreens as much. I just read about you on the website, doing fantastic job. So compliments for that. Yeah, so we would like to learn a bit more about what Ingreens is doing. Of course. If you can also focus on the technology aspects, how that has helped you build a model, scale a model. How do you see rural consumers, especially farmers, adopting technologies? What are the challenges or what are the opportunities in connecting rural India with not just urban India but rest of the world? How do we build those bridges? So over to you, Deep, and look forward to hear from you.
So okay, good afternoon, everyone. So our story goes like we started. This is our 10th year of operation. We started in 2012. We gathered a group of our alumni from my same university who has done MBAs in very qualified institutions like IIM Ahmedabad and all, and with 7-8 years experience in different corporate field. So I interacted with them and we discussed what can we do for this 70% of Indian population and who are actually a rural producer at the same time rural consumer. And we had a background of the common background of agriculture science from State Agriculture University of West Bengal, Bidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya. So we have been discussed, we deliberated, over a period of 4-5 years from 2005 to 2010, and we find out there's a significant chance because 70-80% of population are residing in rural belt of India. And there is no technology company during that time, 2010, 9, 11, during that time, who are focusing on this particular segment of market, at the same time, same particular segment of production class. So we developed a e-governance platform. I will come to it actually. I will, come with a much more detail what exactly we are doing. But I want to approach this particular area with a very macroeconomic view. So I prepared a presentation, 5-6 slides. So I would like to show that. I don't know, can you help me? Share screen. Okay, so I need some tech support from BCCI side. It is showing host disabled attendee screen sharing. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I need some tech support from the organizer side. They have to allow me for screen share. Okay.
In the Microsoft PowerPoint.
This one? Share?
Sure.
Is this PPT visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead. We can see it.
Okay. So the topic of the presentation is tech and finance driven marketing strategies for rural India. We are considering rural India both as product producer class and the consumption class at the same time. And we are trying to unlock the value with our own effort, with our own limited resources and capacity. So let me just start with a couple of very good examples during last 5-10 years who has surfaced and in all three domains. First, in rural fintech, we have seen companies like AgroStar. They started with a Kirana aggregation platform, and then they shifted into rural fintech. There are FarmMart. There are Argos. Argo is a very prominent example. They are kind of a grain bank. They are enabling farmers to convert grains into very tradable digital assets. These are very upcoming, using technology, technology of the age for the grassroots people. And there are Jai Kisan, that is again a neo bank who provides one-stop solution for all kinds of rural financial needs. So these are 4 prominent examples I've shown into rural fintech domain. Let's come to rural commerce. We have seen Store King. They have been working for the last 15 years or so, and they have grown up with a big network right now, preferably, mostly in South India as of now, and they are growing big in western side and northern side as of now. We have seen Uran, who has come up in a big way recently in the last 5-6 years. Shop Kirana we have seen, and very recently during last year only we have seen Misho, who has gathered a lot of funds and growing like anything. Misho integrates small up-country producers and traders to customers all across the nation. And these are very, very prominent examples. They are doing very, very innovative things using technology and considering rural people as both consumer and producer at the same time. They are aggregating their production. They are distributing production which are happening in the urban side and to the deep rural belt. These are very prominent examples. Now let's come to the rural supply chain side, technology-based supply chain side. We have seen Delivery, which has been working with Flipkart or so for last so many years. And then there are Rivigo, then there are Ninja Cart, who is again a part of, I think Flipkart has invested, and the investor of the Flipkart has also invested in Ninja Cart, and they have grown big. They started with South India operations and now growing across India. So these are very, very prominent examples in rural supply chain, rural commerce, and rural fintech sector. Now let us come to the very macroeconomic view of rural population. We have seen that 2/3 of the population, actually more than that, are residing in rural area of India. They are both production class and consumption class. We have seen cultivators and agricultural laborers comprise a significant portion of the workforce in India. Then if we compare Indian GDP, and since we are from West Bengal, we have compared Bengal GDP as well. And the sectional contribution in Indian GDP, there are 16%. If we consider pure agriculture and allied, which is 14%. And kind of 60% comes from core agriculture field, the grain and all, and then 26% from animal husbandry, 6%, 8% from fishery and forestry and other. And in West Bengal, we have seen fishery. Naturally, हम लोग Bengalis थोड़ा fish ज़्यादा खाते हैं, तो fisheries का contribution Bengal में GDP में थोड़ा ज़्यादा है. And 20% of Bengal's GDP practically this is GVA and comes from agriculture and allied sector. And similar in most of the states of India. If we look at the Indian rural demographics, we have studied during last 1-2 years that independent rural population, which is basically a working age population, is projected to increase in next 7-8 years time frame, and which will increase at least in a state like West Bengal, which will increase up to next 15 years. And we have seen overall India basis, it will stagnate sometime during 2026-27. One sec. Then again, the consumption trade, I have given you some data, but let us not get into all those details right now. I'll share the presentations. Financial inclusion, there is a very surprising, we have seen banking services adaptation increased much faster in rural areas, 81% growth during last 2 census years. This census data has not yet been published. If we get the 2021 data, it will be an astonishing figure. I mean, we can understand there are Economic Times reports about rural financial inclusion, how the farmers are adopting digital currencies and all. This is phenomenal growth in India. We have done a couple of very deep stick research about bottom of the pyramid consumer side and the bottom of the pyramid producer side, but let us not get into all these details right now. We have limited time. Let me just give you a brief about what in Greens what exactly we are doing. For last 10 years, we have developed a couple of agriculture and e-governance solution in related fields, which are in direct benefit transfer, which are in subsidy distribution platform, agriculture insurance platform we have developed, agriculture input licensing platform we have developed, and there is another section called knowledge distribution and problem solving. We have seen in agriculture as a particular field, there are lots of research going on in central government research institutions, state government funded firms, and not more than 400, 500 research institutions spread across India, and 56 or 57 agriculture universities. Lots of research for last 10, 15, 20 years. But the extension, and there are some issues. There are language issue. There are farmers' slowness of adaptation issue. So we have tried to attack this particular problem with our own solution. So what we have done, all kinds of government funds which are being distributed across India through different states, either a centrally guided project or state government project. So we have developed a couple of software platforms which are, as of now, which are already ready and working in last 5-6 years. So we are going to offer this platform in SaaS model to other states, which are very low entry barrier. In direct benefit transfer, 77 lakhs farmers direct benefit being transferred to farmers of West Bengal for last 3 years. And we developed the entire technology platform. We enrolled 77 lakh farmers, engaging 5,500 temporary, rural youth. We call them Gramdut, digitally enabled Gramdut. They earned money. We made some of the total project margin, and it is a only unique kind of data wherein the farmers farm level, plot level verification has been done. LNLR, land and land reform proved land record has been digitally verified. Their bank account has been digitally verified, and their identity, both for Aadhaar and Epic, both are digitally verified. So this is very unique data as of now in India. Total 80 lakhs data we generated working in grassroots for last 2-3 years, and DBT has been being done in 7 days, 5 days time right now. The subsidy distribution platform we developed basically for the subsidies given to farm mechanization and those kind of fields, agriculture focused. Agriculture insurance, I think we did a very remarkable job because we have minimized farmer suicide. That is a big social impact, and I will tell you how we did this. We have seen most of the farmer stress are happening in states like Maharashtra and many other parts of India, mainly due to they don't get the indemnity benefit in right time. Suppose in case of any natural calamity, farmer losses his crop in the standing crop, the yield estimation, then in the laborious process, the paperwork, it was kind of a 15-16 months effort to provide him indemnity in the right account in the right way. Lately, it has come down to 7-8 months effort. But in West Bengal, and now AIC is adopting that particular technology across India, we reduced this indemnity distribution period up to 21 days of reporting of natural calamity. 21 days. So from 8-9 months to 21 days, I believe this for farmers, this is a good technology adaptation done by West Bengal farmers and being adopted in many other states. So we also feel very proud that as a very small startup we did that. And we also, there is another one, agriculture input licensing, because seed pesticide farmer dealers, they generally deal with all these pesticide related hazardous chemicals, so they need some kind of government license. And we did the entire technology platform for them. There are 50-60,000 rural input shops. They used to have a paper license which doesn't have any verification proof, and lots of problems are there. So now each of these, their store and their front-end retail outlet are getting digitally verified through app, which are lat long and location proved. And the entire process is completely digitalized. And we have given a 3-4 months window to convert their paper licenses into digital license. And there is a knowledge distribution and problem solving platform also. Now in any part of any corner of West Bengal, a farmer can download a free app. He can take a snap of his crop and its problem, write down in local language, in multiple local language possibilities are there. In what is the kind of problem he is facing, whether it is pest and disease and all, couple of parameters, and automatically in the cloud, possible solutions will get generated. And once the we have kept on human validation. In every block, there is a block technology manager and there is a ADA, Agriculture Development Officer. They get into the portal in the app also. They find out what are the possible solutions in last day, what are the problems has arisen in his block of his farmers. And he can find out the right solution out of these possible solutions, and that possible solution text will get converted into a voice file, and farmer will get incoming call in his personal mobile phone that this problem has been identified from your field and government recommending this kind of solution to solve your problem. So more than 2-3 lakhs farmers has availed that, and we are revamping that with much more modern technology right now. We are trying to use AI and all this stuff. So at the same time, agriculture insurance also, we are doing very deep tech technology involvement with Kharagpur IIT, with Mumbai IIT, and the kind of platform we developed that use very high-tech satellite data and identified crop problem and identified the damage in factor of the crop in a very fast way. So there are satellite GIS we are using, sensor we are implementing in couple of pilot basis. We are using artificial intelligence, we are using machine learning, we are using digital re-engineering platform and drone and analytics. So kind of a 4 or 5 modular SaaS applications we developed, and now we are trying to replicate in all other states because it is a very easy adaptation, just 3-4 days customization and you can go live. It's a plug and play solution we have developed. So our approach in handling rural issues and helping farmers to solve their problem comes from implementing very high-tech solutions at the basically almost free of cost kind of, because these are government funded. And so this is as of now for last 10 years that we have done. Now we are working in Chhattisgarh, we are working in Sikkim, we are working in West Bengal, we are getting into Tripura, and we are getting into a couple of southern Indian states very soon in 3-4 months time. So it will be a SaaS application for agriculture e-governance, and suppose the platforms like direct benefit transfer or subsidy distribution, any state, any department can adopt this kind of platform. So we are sitting in the very at the bottom of the very growth curve right now. Next 2-3 years will be very exciting, and beyond this, we are getting into a very unique venture which is in stealth mode right now. That will be a digital connect, digital bridge between rural production and urban consumption. I am not in a position to share all those details right now, but yes, we are getting recently funded and we are getting launching maybe IPO in 1 year or 2 years down the line. That is the kind of situation we are in. These are some of the clients we have served. This is my top management. Let us not get into that. So all agriculture graduates, we gathered together, we developed this platform, and we are trying to serve in our way, in the best possible way. We are taking modern technology, we are taking all innovations happening across government research institutions in a much more faster way to farmers' benefit. So that is our approach. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Rana. Phenomenal amount of work, and I'm getting a bit surprised that I haven't heard about you.
One sec, sir. How can I stop share this thing?
Stop sharing.
Stop video. No. Let me just 1 sec.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah, thanks, Ranadeep. I think it's phenomenal amount of work. What I was trying to say that I'm surprised I haven't heard about your work. You've done a great job. DBT, real time, insurance settlement, almost real time. And you mentioned about input licensing. That's very interesting to me, because this is one challenge I've seen across startups. They struggle because their license are not renewed in time. They get orders. Sometimes they, they are in a difficult situation also because those licenses are in place. So I think this is a great model. I'm sure a lot of agri input e-com platforms, would be very, very interested in learning how you digitized it, because it's not just West Bengal problem. I can tell you this problem is prevalent throughout the India. And
Right.
one of the biggest challenges in inventory-led model in agri input e-commerce is local licenses for storage of fertilizers and agrochemicals and seeds, because they're typically governed by government regulations. So I would be very happy to learn more about how you're doing it, and if there's a potential to take it to other states, I would like to learn that and hopefully make some connects for you for people to explore this.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Great, no, this is wonderful. And the reason I asked Deepak and Ranadeep to present first, because what I'm going to say is now immaterial, because these are two great case studies of how do you build digital models in rural India. And if I can just add to what they've said, I personally believe that rural India is ripe for digital adoption. Most of the time, sitting in cities, we always have our own perceptions about the adoption of new technologies. But I travel a lot, especially in villages, and I usually get surprised on the positive side in terms of how rural consumers are changing. And the number of UPI payments, for example, is a great indicator, which has gone up significantly.
Yes.
A lot of these payment apps, it's very common among rural consumers, not just farmers, download that and make payments through their payment apps, which are very common now. WhatsApp groups, we all know, one of the most popular medium to reach out to farmers. In fact, I say, I would say 3 or 4 best social media in rural area, in my knowledge, is WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, of course, YouTube. These are 4 channels which I've seen very commonly used by farmers. In fact, a lot of sales of tractors, especially second-hand tractors in India, is now happening through YouTube medium, which is where they record the video, put it, and they get queries. A lot of apps I'm seeing are building this social media integration so that they can interact with farmers in a very seamless way. So I think that's all very interesting. Whether farmer will download an app, whether he will transact on an app, I think those are questions. I won't say there's a single answer to that. But I agree what Deepak mentioned, as some sort of phygital model or a digital assist model, where we are not pushing him or her to do everything on app, but assisting him with some sort of a physical presence in the villages, which give farmer a lot of comfort, because he's not going to trust someone he's not seen before, right? So I think the phygital is the way to go. In fact, even the rural fintech or agri fintech, what I'm seeing, there are a lot of models, but they continue to be digital, especially farmer onboarding, farmer KYC, which is at the very base, which is at the start of the loan cycle. You can't do it digitally completely. I'm sure things may change in 5-7 years from now, but I see a lot of merit in building this local ecosystem. It could be village level entrepreneur, it could be an FPO, it could be an input retailer, right? How do we empower them to do that job? And there are many players are doing it. I worked with a startup called Helsa, which has done a fantastic job in building that network. There's a startup in Rajasthan called Frontier Markets, who has a network of Sahelis, who take this solution to women farmers and other rural folks. Spice Money, I think they've done a great job in building a payments network in rural India, and not just payments, even collection. They do a lot of collection through their army of local entrepreneurs. And of course, Dehat is a great example. It's built a strong physical plus digital presence across rural India. So I think this is fascinating what we are seeing, as things are evolving. And I think the role of technology, which has already been talked about, I think probably if I can add to that, I think there are multiple challenges for farmers, be it access to market, access to input, access to advisory, access to financing. And to me, ultimately, a lot of the solutions that we're talking about, whether you start from market access or whether you start from input access, will ultimately converge. Because we are talking about the same farmer. And essentially, in all these models, one common thing is digitizing farmer record, digitizing farm record, farm monitoring, as Deepak was mentioning, through satellite imagery, stuff like that. I think that those data points remain common. If I have to figure out how much input is required, if I can figure out the crop signatures, if I can figure out the hyperlocal weather parameters, if you can figure out the soil health, that makes my job very easy to figure out how much NPK is required, or when I need to spray pesticide and stuff like that. And if I capturing the data, there's a good chance I can even estimate potential yield and harvest schedules. So if I'm building a market linkage model, that becomes so easy, right? To aggregate demand and then link supply to the demand. And all this data put together is, I would say, gold mine for any banker who typically struggles to get this data.
Right.
You have a bank branch network, but I think it's very laborious to go to the field and collect those data points, collect those documents. And farm monitoring at scale is impossible for any banker, and that's where satellite imagery and hopefully going forward drones will play a major role in giving of some sort of farm credit score. And it's not one-time score, it's a dynamic score. If there's a rain, if there's excess temperature, if crop health gets compromised, those scores may change from time to time. And that's the beauty of this solution, that they're not static. They are pretty much dynamic. So yeah, I think that's where I see the role of technology. And I'm really excited about how of course, the agri-tech ecosystem, I would say, is pretty much on an autopilot mode. I see one entrepreneur every day, coming up and saying, I'm starting in so-and-so village or so-and-so region. So I think that I'm very bullish on. In next 5 to 10 years, we may have 10,000 agri-tech startups and all sustainable, all probably, hopefully standing on their feet and not necessarily dependent on next round of funding. So I see that kind of momentum on the agri-tech side. But I think we need to complement with building an army of rural entrepreneurs who can take this solution to the farmers. That's extremely critical. And I think both Dehat and InGreen are great example. How do you build that local ecosystem so that these solutions can ultimately reach to farmers? In my opinion, right now, agri-tech penetration is probably 15 to 20% of India's farmer, which is probably 20 million, 2 crore odd farmers. And we have almost 150 million farmers. So there's enough headroom to improve that penetration. And why just India? The problems of Kenya or Tanzania, or Vietnam or Indonesia, they are no different. They have very similar challenges.
Exactly.
So, and I'm very hopeful that a lot of these solutions will ultimately travel cross border, and we can potentially be a global hub of these innovations, with a lot of innovations being tested in Indian market. So I'll stop here. I'll probably I'll hand it over to Deepak one more time for his concluding remarks, and maybe then Rana can come in. Deepak, you have heard what Rana is doing. I've shared my views. How do you, if I have to ask you what's, DeHaat 2025 or DeHaat 2030, where do you see this going?
Okay, good question. So actually, I'll add a little bit more. See, our tagline in today is seed to market. Frankly speaking, it should be market to seed, actually, because we went to the market first, and now we are adding seeds to the farmers. But anyway, and it's not just seed to market. I think we are going to reach very soon from seed to plate. So we are now developing a model. Of course, we have already done it, but we are now going to do it on much massive scale, and that is traceability. So anything produced now, or we are one of the exporter also now, and you can also get DeHaat potatoes in the brand now in the market very soon. Yesterday I bought in the market, so I think you people can also get DeHaat potatoes now. So we have about 500 customers, and we exported makhana, lychee, this year grapes to Europe. So we have our own apple brand, and very soon you will see Farm Plus apples available in the market. So we are not just giving market to the farmers, but we are creating market also for them by branding, adding new brands for them, which is directly from the farms. That's number one. Regarding technology, I personally feel that no model in India, in the world today, can reach to a massive scale if it is not technologically enabled. Impossible. Physically, and especially in agriculture, as the number of farmers, numbers of the laborers reducing drastically on the field, the only way possible to improve our yield of agriculture is through technology. And then technology intervention will happen at each and every level. And then, like now, drone. Government of India is giving so many, incentives for the farmers to start using drones. And in our model, like micro entrepreneurs model, we are now developing a complete different set of micro entrepreneurs who will be giving, drone facilities to the farmers. And again, it will be a micro entrepreneur model. It will not that our employees, our drones, not that. We want people to convert this into business, start making money, but start helping farmers. So if an acre of land, which is now a farmer is paying 1,000 rupees, I have seen that in some areas in West Bengal, farmers are paying 1,000 rupees for their potato farms for spraying of agrochemicals. We will be helping them to do it at 250 rupees or 200 rupees. So, and that even with that, the micro entrepreneur is going to make some money, who's going to, use this drones. So technology is going to technology of intervention is going to be drastic, and it can never be ending. We are giving 30-minute test to a soil test. So many of our DeHaat centers now are equipped with soil testing, and within 30 minutes we can give the result. The intervention of technology will increase actually with every passage of time. And we have more than 250 employees out of 1250 who are only creating intelligence, market intelligence of the data which is available to us. We have in-source data, we are outsourcing data, means companies like Ingreens and all that, all those companies who are generating some data, we can of course help get some data from them, but we create our own intelligence. We have our own rating for our credit rating for our micro entrepreneurs, so that tomorrow very easy for the finance companies to give credit to these our Dehat centers and also to the farmers. Now coming to your question that what we will be in 2025. See, first of all, we are firmly present today in 4 states. We will be touching a turnover of about 1,200 crores. We are, and we are multiplying 2.5 times every year as of now. So we'll see what will be the numbers next year. Let's see. But what I'm trying to say is that what we are today and what we'll be in 2025. First, we have to have a geographic expansion. We will have to be on pan-India basis. And I think our co-founders' vision is that we will not even leave northeast states, those kind of things. We will definitely even go to that level. That's number one. Number two is that we may cross the boundaries. We may go out of India also. We will be replicating these models in many other countries. We already have many requests coming from various countries to replicate this model, but we are not in a position today because we have so much to do in India. We are firmly present only in 3 to 4 states, and 3 to 4 states we have just added. So that's the journey we will have to 2025. We are one-stop solution to the farmers, and we will see to it that by the time in another few years we should be giving any solution a farmer is asking. Today we are even giving the bags which are needed for packaging. That also we are supplying through our Dehat centers. We will have machineries. We already have few machinery business we are doing. We are having sprayers those one at that level, and we are adding many farm implements. So we will definitely be a one-stop solution to the farmer. That is for sure. So that is our vision. We like to be number one company. We want to have the first mover advantage. I'm sure there are a few companies will also replicate our model in the time to come. But our idea is that how to bring more and more efficiency, so that with the minimum of profit earning, we survive, we sustain, and we actually become a customer delight company, and our customer is the farmer. So that is our vision, that we'll reach to the plate, to the consumer. We will have traceability of whatever is being produced for international markets, exports and all that, because that's going to come very soon. We can't avoid that. So everything, and it will all be technological, support and intervention. Model will always remain digital till we are in the business of agriculture, because farmer trust is very important. And if physically persons are not available to the farmer loses, the trust, and there where the whole problem starts. So our idea is to build a very big brand, and Dehat will have 3 meanings. I don't know when co-founder named this company, they had this in mind or not, but at least now we have 3 meanings. One is Dehat, which means village. Other is D-hat. If you see, we have a H capital in Dehat, which means it's a hat. Hat means the local place where you can bring your output, and you can buy input. That is it. And third is, if we will add H in the last, it will become Dehat, which means please give your hand to us. We will do the hand holding and take you long for doubling your income or tripling your income as a farmer. So that is our vision in the time.
Great. Good to hear new versions of Dehat, which I never heard. Great to hear from you, Deepak. Really, vision to go international, vision to go deep. I think that's all very promising. So, wish you and Dehat team good luck. And happy to be partner in the journey with you and your team. With that, yeah, Rana.
I'll add one more thing. We are very happy when the new companies come in this forum, because then as more and more players will come in this business of agriculture with technology, with increased efficiencies, I think this area will get more and more importance, and I think we will be able to solve many economical problems with the time to come.
Sure, Deepak. Thanks very much. So, Ranadeep, the last word is with you. What's your vision for Ingreens? You have done a great job, but I personally believe your solution can be really pan-India and it needs to be democratized. So how do you see Ingreens panning out? What do you see yourself in next 5 to 7 years? You're on mute. Ranadeep, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. So we have two growth engines right now. One is the platform that we developed for last 10 years with modern technology and agriculture and governance space. So that particular platform in SaaS model, I have a target internally to my team that by this year end, we will reach out to 15 to 16 states across pan-India. And the second growth wing is we are getting into as of now in a stealth mode, we are trying to develop a rural Amazon in India. And we are getting funded for that in next few months' time. And by 2023 end or 2024, as of now, we have not diluted our stake. So maybe a minor dilution right now with some marquee investors. That's what we are looking for. And by 2023 end and 2024 first quarter, we'll be launching our IPO. And quite big number, so I'm not going to disclose all those things. I'm not in a position, actually, not allowed. But yes, both in rural governance and rural e-commerce, that is Ingreens, and it is going big.
Great. So that brings this discussion to an end. Jayanta, I hope the session was useful. And all I can say that this is the start of the journey. It's a very long journey. Agri-tech, rural tech in India is not that old. It's probably 5 to 7 years old. And we have covered a large ground, but all I can say that it's a long journey. Ultimately, a farmer should benefit, earn more, save more, get financing at reasonable price, get insurance cover, get access to best data, best advisory. And that's where we'll see a lot of new technologies coming up and a lot of new entrepreneurs. And I think that's the beauty of this. It's not a winners take all market. There are going to be multiple winners. And that's what really excites me. Vis-a-vis any other sector that you look at, which are kind of monopolized by top 2-3 players. This is one sector which has just so much to offer for any entrepreneur who wants to make a difference. So with those words, I'll end here. And once again, thanks to BCCI for organizing this event. And I hand over back to Jayanta for his remarks.
Thank you very much, sir.
I think it's a great session. Particularly thanks, Mr. Deepak, for giving insight of the Dehat, because Dehat has become a model now. Because both physical and digital and coordination with different verticals, that farmers' solutions from input to output, insurance to farm mechanizations, everything, which was a dream for the farmer, we are making it real now. So congratulations, and I think it will really change the game plan for the Indian agriculture. So, and your
one thing I missed to mention, because you have just told, so I just remember that we have also started our own brand for animal feed, which is called Khorak. And within 4 months, we are doing a wonderful business. So we found such a huge market, gap available in the in India about even for doing something for the, cattle for the farmers. So that's what I'm saying. We will be one-stop solution to the farmers. Whatever they will have in house, we want to, solve their all the pains.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a great journey has started, and I think ultimately the beneficiaries will be Indian farmer and Indian economy and overall agriculture actually. So it is a great journey. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Ranadeep, for giving the insights of your business, which you have started 10 years back. And I think now you're coming with a big plan, though you are not divulging to us, but it will be known to us very short time. So wish you all good luck for your new assignments also.
Thank you.
Thank you. And ultimately, I have no words to appreciate Mr. Hemendra Mathur because he is so known in the this sector of venture capital and starting startups and even also the policy adoptions reports and not only in agriculture, in milk, agri-tech, fintech, everywhere. So in spite of a busy schedule, you have lended time to have this session. Really obliged to you. Once again, apologies for rescheduling this session, deferring by 1 hour, and you have consented for it. Heartfelt thanks to all of you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Now, I think our next session is with another market leader that is on ITC. And welcome Mr. Sachin Sharma to this session. And this session actually we have exclusively made it for ITC because we thought this session ITC would be the appropriate player and only player to have a session on this thing. So this session is defining new age farming through climate smart agriculture. And this day, Mr. Sachin Sharma is with us today. I like to introduce him to the audience here so that they will have a just a minute. Mr. Sachin Sharma, Vice President and Head, Channel and Dairy Operations in ITC Limited. The agri-food industry professional who is passionate to work a positive change in farmers' life through business interventions. Member of ITC Agribusiness Management Committee, experienced in managing agri operations at scale, creation of new categories in food, dairy and agri domain and rollout of transformational digital projects. Ability to lead large operations team and core functions team, currently working as Vice President and Head Channel Operations and heading verticals of commodities, sourcing and supply chain, agri services, rural marketing, dairy and new category development of medicinal plants. Leading eChowpal project, world largest digital agri and rural initiative and part of core team of eChowpal 4.0. Leading digital transformations of agri supply chains. In today's scenario, we are discussing a lot of agri-tech, fintech, a lot of digital transformations, but ITC always being there. I think last 10, 12 years back, they have already visualized this thing and they have started this thing and that's why they are the leader also. So we thought that for this session, none other than a person like Mr. Sachin Sharma would be the ideal person to give a inside story of this journey actually. So though is a discussion mode, but first I will request Mr. Sharma to give a brief of this, his understanding, his perspective of this subject actually.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chakrabarti. And first of all, I would like to thank Bengal Chambers of Commerce and organizers for inviting me for this, discussion. And I think this whole, program is happening at a very right time, wherein government has also recently announced a lot of new measures in agriculture sector in budget, wherein focus is aligned more towards the new trends in agriculture which are taking shape. And some of the initiatives are related to climate smart agriculture, then use of technology in agriculture field, and public-private partnerships, building a startup ecosystem which can solve a lot of problems. So you have rightly said ITC is very deeply connected with the agriculture sector and supporting next generation agriculture and inclusive growth. In fact, this whole journey has started 22 years back now, when we started our project of eChopal, which was, humbly I can say, was probably the first AgTech, globally and certainly in India with a reach and scale. So it was the first large-scale use case of using digital and internet in the agriculture context, and this has become one of the largest, say growth driver for agriculture sector. And through eChopal, ITC has been able to say roll out many such programs and projects which have actually transformed life of farmer in multiple ways. But before I share with that some of those details in terms of what ITC is into in the agriculture and more specifically in climate smart agriculture space, some of the points which lead us to why climate smart agriculture is becoming a necessity going forward, or why sustainable agriculture is very, very important and critical. So I would like just to focus on certain some certain points. Like if you look at in India today, 70% of the household is actually dependent on agriculture, and even not only households but 55% of the workforce is dependent on agriculture, and agriculture has now seen a growth rate which is almost touching 4%. It's really moved away from 2% range of growth. And while one side growth is there, but Indian population is also growing very fast. In fact, some estimates say that by 2027, Indian population would be touching 1.5 billion mark. So there'll be a lot of say pressure on food, fiber, and other necessities which our country would be needing. And this is not possible unless there is a significant increase in say productivity, and productivity increase coming with say next generation agriculture and implementation of very strong climate smart practices, which not only increases productivity, help farmer, and help the entire ecosystem in a sustainable way. And this is also like also government is also having vision of doubling farmer income, or initiatives like more crop per drop, or initiative of natural farming and so on. So somewhere I think there is a large recognition of the whole need. So ITC, as you rightly said, has started this journey, and I have briefly touched upon how we started eChopal. So in eChopal, as I said, that it has been largest rural digital infra, and 2 decades we have completed. And this whole ecosystem is not only providing market information to farmer, market access or price discovery, but there has been a lot of focus on improving the farm productivity through various projects which we run through eChopal, and and various extension services and very customized information, advisory and inputs which we have provided to farmer, which enable farmer to improve the productivity. In fact, one of the learning which we had was that you have to have a farm to fork model if you want to really transform agriculture or the lives of farmers, because unless you have a end-to-end intervention or a holistic approach, you will not be able to sustainably make a change or a difference. So this project broadly encompasses various elements. One is the market linkage and crop procurement, which not only connects ITC but ITC brands. So for example, we have an integrated value chain approach So we have linkages with farmers, connecting with our brands. Like, for example, wheat farmer is connecting through Ashirwad Atta, through the complete end-to-end value chain approach. It starts from advisory inputs, then helping farmer grow its wheat in a right way, then market linkages, and then connecting it to the consumer. Or with milk farmers for our Ashirwad brand of Swasti, or say spices, which we are doing for again Ashirwad brand, or fruit juices, various fruits, for juices brand, and so on. So one focus has been on value chain approach. Another has been a focus on sustainable agriculture, which not only addresses the say farmer productivity issue, but also these solutions should be helping reducing say resource uses, be it carbon or be it water or others, and then also generate these resources back to the society. And then also enhance the resilience of against the disease, pest, or other climate risks like weather patterns which are changing. And all this should be done in such a way that farmer also improves his earning and livelihood. So we have created various localized projects through each of all. While I have a long list, but in interest of time, I will only give you a glimpse of a few projects which we have successfully run under climate smart agriculture at scale. And then I will also touch upon what is our future plan as we move on in the sustainable agriculture. So first has been a project like 12 Mahine Haryali. So this project, of multiplying farmer income, this program is running in East India. Here focus has been to create a 360-degree agri initiative and intervention, which can help farmer improving their income at a significant level. So some of the interventions here has been working with farmer on paddy, wheat, and an alternate summer moon crop, and help farmer focus on increasing the cropping intensity, use the climate smart varieties, which are, say for example, short duration, which are able to cope up with say changing rainfall patterns, and also they are highly productive. Similarly, introducing another crop which is summer moong, which is able to specific varieties which we've screened through ICR system, and these varieties are able to withstand limited irrigation and temperatures in summer, and provides additional source of income to farmer, while help increasing the soil nutrient because it's a leguminous crop. And a lot of focus has been on mechanization and new things, like for example a zero seed drill, which actually reduces the carbon emission, broadbed furrow planting, or mechanized transplanters in paddy, or direct seeded rice, which has been piloted. So with all these initiatives, over 2 lakh farmers are actually getting benefited. And out of this total 2 lakh farmers, 35,000 farmers have actually reported doubling income by way of increasing productivity, reduction in cost of cultivation, and getting additional crop in the cycle. And 30 to 75% farmer has reported various type of say increase in income depending on the practices. So this project actually shows that a significant scale up can be done in farmer income while conserving the natural resources and practicing various sustainable practices. Another program which we are doing is in the aspirational districts. We all know there has been various challenges in aspirational districts, and that's where we are working with Niti Aayog. Here also the focus is on increasing say farmer incomes while promoting climate smart practices. Interventions remain in the same range, and right now we are working with 380,000 farmers, over 5,000 villages in this district. Here in both these programs, we are also actively leveraging the digital connect with farmers through various modes, so that a lot of information and advisory can be connected through each of us and other modes. In fact, we have started using WhatsApp also as one of the modes for say advisory. Third project I would share is slightly in a different value chain, which is ITC's forestry and bamboo value chain. So this project is also one example wherein you can create sustainable farmer incomes and natural resources while in wastelands. So in this project, what we have done is that we have encouraged farmers who own wasteland and or land with very low productivity to grow commercially viable pulpwoods. So we have, through our R&D, created clonal samplings of various disease resistant and say fast growing pulpwood crops, and these are being planted by farmers in wasteland which are not giving any return or income. ITC has been supporting various package of practices and handholding to farmer, and farmers are able to actually grow these pulpwoods and they are able to sell. We are also connecting market linkages through this, and this is going to our paperboard business or notebook branch of Classmate and Papercraft. In fact, 8,75,000 acre has been covered under this program, which is running as a part of agroforestry. Both we are having bamboo and other agroforestry crops in this. So see, these are the big scale programs, and likewise we have one in say chili and other spices, in oil seeds, potatoes, and so on. So there are many such examples. So just to summarize the learning has been that you can create a sustainable ecosystem which creates a win-win to the farmer for building say integrated value chains. Farmer gets benefited by multiplying his incomes. There is conservation of natural resources which is possible, and it helps in a long-term sustainability of agriculture while increasing the food production for the country and farmer income as a whole. With this, I would also quickly touch upon our say digital initiatives. In fact, as I told you, eChopal has been say the first and the world largest example of say using internet in agriculture. So to take that thing forward, we have started piloting various other modes of digital infra with applications in agriculture. And as we know that mobile penetration has increased over years in the rural areas, and there are a lot of solutions which can be provided to farmer. And basis those, we have started a program called ITC Mars. So ITC Mars would be a super app which we are in the process of creating. This will be like a full complement of agriculture solutions, because it will provide say microservices at a village level, which will have a plug and play offerings to various say agriculture tech solutions. So this platform will get embedded with ITC eChopal network, and it will be a physical say offering wherein the digital interventions in areas of data lake and AI ML, intelligent nudge capability, other tools of personalization for farming would come in from a digital side, and ITC current capabilities of agronomy advice, ability to connect seed, fertilizers, agrochemicals, and also the frontline demonstration plots, the crop development activities which are on ground will complement on ground service to the farmer. Because one of the challenge in today's context in the digital agriculture is that while the solutions sometimes are quite useful, but there is a limitation of taking them to the farmer at a in an effective way, in a cost effective way. That's where we say that it's a phygital approach, which includes the physical say connect and this superimposed with a digital solution. So this physical connect comes with our reach and scale, which is in 22 states covering over 20 agri value chains, and we are present in over 160 say locations all across, and our farmer reach has been over 4 million through our eChopal. So with this physical reach, the digital solution of Mars will provide a unique solution. Some of the areas which we are looking at are agri input, customized crop advisory, which will be based on profiling of the farmer, his background, the type of soil farmer has, his irrigation capabilities, and what kind of progressiveness farmer has, and also the real-time conditions like hyperlocal weather, pest predictions, crop stage and condition, etc. So all these capabilities will come through a super app, and the delivery will happen through the physical network and reach which we have built in Agri. So here the focus would be again connecting on climate smart agriculture practices and sustainable agriculture practices. In fact, just to conclude I conclude the discussion at for this section. We have charted out very ambitious sustainability 2.0 targets for ITC. While they have various sections, but the relevant one from agriculture point of view are combating, climate change and water stewardship, then sustainable agriculture, wherein we target 3 million acres by 2030. Or in terms of climate change, we are looking at renewable energy coming 50% by 2030. Or in water stewardship, we are looking at achieving 40% reduction in specific water consumption as compared to our baseline of 2018-19. Similarly, a lot of focus is there on supporting sustainable livelihoods and biodiversity conservation, wherein we want to increase the coverage to 250,000 acres by 2030. When I speak this, I would also very quickly mention is that even the current scale, water stewardship has been one of the focus area for us. And in fact, over 1.2 million acres in 14 states are covered under our watershed program, which we want to take up to 3 lakh acres in 6 states as we move on. So all these programs will get a significant scale, because what we believe is that a prosperous farmer is key to success of agriculture. And we believe that business cannot prosper if societies fail. So you have to build a sustainable agriculture ecosystem. You have to support sustainable agriculture value chains, and that's where the whole focus is going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for a detailed, in-depth analysis and what ITC is doing. I think in a very outside note, that doubling of farmers' income would have been possible if there are multiple ITCs in India itself. Because the way ITC has done it, I think that should be translated by others, organizations also, that could have translated this journey more easier actually. Because you have already demonstrated there. So I think it is a real success story for the Indian agriculture and Indian farmer also. And I think 4 million farmer base through the e-Chowpal, I think it is the biggest, I should say, data and biggest assets of the ITC, which you are approaching through physical. That through super app you are connecting them digitally, and through physical you are having the connects also. So that it makes more sense. Because in earlier session also people are telling that in agriculture exclusively through app it is difficult actually. You should have human connect so that this translation or the transformation should take place so easily actually. And really it is a very, we are lucky first of all that ITC is based in Calcutta, and we are within 1 kilometer distance from the BCCI is 1 kilometer distance from the ITC also. So biggest knowledge partner, I should say, fortunately is located within our proximity also. So with such a wonderful initiatives, and we all know that ITC is one of the stewards in the agricultural sector. There are few queries are there that research showed that agriculture is a major source of greenhouse gas emission. The sector generates almost 25% of greenhouse gas. So experts are suggesting for climate smart agriculture, obviously, which you are already adopting. Now the question is, how can a country like India, which is still dependent on producing rice, wheat, jute and sugarcane, convert itself to a CSA? because we need 304 million tons of grains for the food security. We have to produce this thing. It needs water. So how, what is the take on these challenges actually from ITC?
So, Mr. Chakravarti, I think a very pertinent question. And yes, as a nation, we have to focus on improving the food production and faster than our population grows. And while doing it sustainably and in a way that we are also able to conserve the resources. And I think both objectives are possible to meet, because in fact, in our large scale programs, what we have seen is that within the same set of crops, there are many ways which are available, wherein you can actually do climate smart agriculture, you can conserve the resources while improving the productivity. So it's like a win-win, which is possible. And there is a significant, say saving of resources, or say carbon footprints, or water, or then also farmer productivity increases, and therefore the production increases. I will give you some case in point to support this argument. For example, if you take a rotation crop like wheat and paddy, which is quite normal in say large tract of India.
Yeah.
So here there are various climate smart agriculture practices which can be adopted, which for example in paddy, if you look at the East India, there is a say delay in sowing of wheat because paddy crop is long duration. So it not only takes more water but also impacts the say wheat crop. So there are various ways this can be addressed. One is to use short duration crops which take the less water, because number of water cycles can be reduced. Also use mechanization, which reduces the water intake as well as carbon footprint or the fuel consumption at the time of land preparation. Also direct seeded rice, which significantly reduces the water uses in the crop. Similarly, in the wheat crop, if you see, if you use zero seed drill, so that technique helps using the inherent moisture which is available in the land for say sowing. So you need not to really do land preparation and sowing. And while doing so, you also save on the say fuel, and this also improves the timing of sowing, which helps in improving the productivity. Similarly, integrated nutrient and pest management can help in reducing say uses of pesticides, and while doing also a third crop, which is summer moon, can be introduced, which is a leguminous crop, gives back the say nitrogen. Just to summarize, these practices have helped improving the production while reducing the use of resources and doing it much more sustainably. So there is enough say possibilities which are available where you can actually meet both the goals of increasing the productivity and doing it in a climate smart way, so that you are also conserving. Another example I will give you like oil seeds in central India. So here if you see, weather patterns have shifted. So now rainfall is delayed. So the right varieties which are short duration gets into the same time of harvesting, but they are aligning to the changing climatic pattern, definitely help in terms of say helping farmer improving the productivity while also aligning to the climate changes. So I think both the things are possible. Or even the wasteland conservation, what we are doing through agroforestry is another example wherein you can actually do. One more thing which I would like to just touch upon is water harvesting. So within today, India still has largely say unirrigated areas or the rain-fed areas, I would say. There, water harvesting itself can actually improve the availability of water for the farmers and can change the cropping pattern. I've already shared how ITC is working on watershed through our e-chopals. And here what we have seen is that farmer is able to use additional source of irrigation, and also many new varieties farmer or the crops like wheat and all farmer is able to grow with higher productivity. Yes, what is very, very critical in this is to build right community ecosystem while working with farmer, improving their capacity, understanding, training, handholding, giving them demonstrations on ground so that they are convinced that this is possible.
I think very rightly mentioned. I think technologies are there. It has to be extension services have to be there to reach it farmers so that they can adopt it. I think adoption of new technologies are very important actually. Like zero seed drill and all those things, new technologies are there. So that balance could be maintained, both production as well as carbon emissions and all those things could be maintained actually.
And one more myth which generally people say that farmers do not adopt new things. It has been very contrary in our experience. If you are able to show value to farmer on ground, in his ecosystem, the adoption rates are very fast.
I'm just giving one example because I represent agrochemical industry also. People say that farmers generally go for cheaper products and all those things. This myth has totally gone wrong now. Now they are telling we need the best possible agrochemicals, having the safest by nature, and it should be cost effective and it should kill them. And they are also concerned about the nature also. So rightly you have pointed out that adoption of the farmer is quite high now. Actually. So that old myth is not correct at all nowadays. So
definitely.
I think ITC is a major player and participatory process in the reform also, Government of India. So because your chairman is actively involved in the policy advocacy at central level. Do you think that are you looking for any major reform should come in the form of where CSA should be more given weightage and more benefit should be given for those farmers or those organizations will promote and start safe agriculture, I should say responsible agriculture. So do you think time has come for government to now go beyond normal agriculture to a very CSA smart agriculture and reward those who are promoting and those who are practicing? Your comment, please.
I think government has already taken steps in this direction. So even in this year budget also, if you see, there has been focus on say natural farming, which is leading towards this direction of having a sustainable farming using the natural resources. In past also there have been focus on say programs like more crop per drop, wherein there has been a lot of support which came in for say micro irrigation, and similarly there have been various schemes on say organic say agriculture and then conservation of natural resources and so on. So I think government has been quite active, and the research and the development through ICR is also focusing on developing similar varieties which can align to the climate thing. I think what is important, and that's where government is also now started focusing more, that a lot of these objectives can be achieved when public-private partnership comes into play in a very sort of concentrated manner, especially when organizations, those who are working at grassroots level. So so that's where I think the focus which has been built in this budget, I think that can help in multiplying the effect, both from say public sector say institutions, government network, also from the private sector startup. So I think that's the time which which has come, and in this budget government has recently announced. So I think some of these things will really fast track adoption of climate smart agriculture and sustainable agriculture practices. So I think policy wise things are in place. Implementation through a more robust public-private partnership, can really fast track the whole, adoption.
I think, what about you see that the government, all other people are telling about crop diversification in India should be the need of the hour, but it also synchronized with the need of food habits of the people also. Because if I produce suddenly from wheat to millets or millets to wheat or soybean, but it should synchronize with the food habit. So I think in that way, is any work is going on keeping that, because ultimately we are moving from production driven agriculture to demand driven agriculture. So how to synchronize that thing is, if any suggestion from your side, or any update from your side.
So I think Mr. Chakravarti, is a very good question, and in fact you have rightly pointed out that there are changes in agriculture production, but are they aligned to the changing consumer food preferences? Yeah. So see, we as a consumer company, we see a lot of these changes happening and happening very rapidly, and somewhere production is getting aligned, but there is much more need of alignment per se. So if you look at, I'll give you some data points. If you look at change in the dietary trends, so in the daily calorie intake, now almost 65% share is coming from non-grains. When I say non-grains, it is non-wheat and non-paddy. Earlier it used to be say almost 65-70% used to come from grains. So the whole shift has happened. So non-grain contributes to a bigger say consumption in the daily calorie. Means consumers are now taking say in terms of food habit more non-grain foods. Second thing is there is a lot of focus which is coming on healthy lifestyle, and this has further increased post pandemic. So you can see focus on various nutri cereals, millets, or in fact government is having very active program on millets, food fortification, nutraceuticals. So preventive healthcare and having healthy food is getting a lot of adoption. In fact, organic food itself are growing very fast. There is a lot of say awareness, or consumers are keen to buy organic. Next is a change which is happening is consumers and international customers are also keen to know how their food is being produced. So traceability and clean labels, sustainable production. This is also growing internationally. It is growing very fast, and in a domestic segment also, this is moving very fast. And even consumer is also becoming more aware. There is awareness on responsible sourcing, for example, that the food which is coming, is becoming part of, a brand which I am buying. Is it been responsibly produced? So in terms of water conservation, chemical uses, food safety is a big trend. And so these are the patterns. And last but not the least, milk, fruits and vegetables, and other sources of proteins, and nutrition. Those sources are increasing. So therefore, certainly consumer habits are changing towards this, and the agriculture has to also align. So what we say is that there has to be a migration from buying the produce to produce the buy, in the sense that it has to be a demand-driven agriculture, and demand-driven agriculture will also sort of support more the climate-smart agriculture, because the demand which is coming for those food items, which are more sustainably produced. So I see, there is a lot of evolving consumer food preferences, and they will further drive this change in agriculture.
Very well said. And last one or two questions only. That we are shifting now. We should shift now from resource-based agriculture to responsible agriculture, like you have mentioned here. that lots of chemicals, fertilizers, hybrid seeds, and all those things, we should have a very optimum judicious applications, and it should have a very negligible impact on the nature also. So, how do you think that Bengal Chamber, as a whole, could assist in this journey to you or to the agriculture for percolating this message to the selected farmers or something like that? How do you advise us to go ahead?
I think we have to say demonstrate value to the farmer, that a sustainable way of farming is the way forward, which has farmer benefits in terms of say conserving the resources, be it say soil, be it water, be it say nutrition in the soil health, and so on, or the ecology and environment in the village. It is beneficial for the other stakeholders. Say it helps in improving farmer incomes, and various experiences which we have in driving sustainable agriculture has been that you can achieve all these goals. So I think the farmer communication and demonstration on ground is one critical thing. Second thing is that how can you create a value chain approach, end-to-end ecosystem. So that's where I think, like for example, as I gave you example of ITC, wherein ITC, is connecting farmer up to a consumer, wherein there is, brand which is getting processed. So how can food processing play an important role? That awareness, is also critical, because ultimately, if value chains are sustainable, then you can create that kind of say difference on ground. Third thing is that how do you say operationalize some of these changes at the last mile. That's where I think role of public-private partnership comes in. Role of farmer collectives like FPO. We are in fact supporting a lot of FPOs and going to work with almost 3,000 plus FPOs as we move on to drive our agriculture value chain projects. So that becomes a last mile tool, and it's a time of partnership and creating an ecosystem wherein say institutions like chambers, private sector organizations, startups, public sector institutions, government can come together and can create focused programs addressing the need of the farmer in certain specific regions and value chains. And every player can play its role wherein the strength lies. And I think with this focus of government also creating more PPP in agriculture sector, a lot of these things will get further enabled. So I think I'm just widening the horizon what you have just shared. Not only that ITC or chambers, but I'm seeing in the entire ecosystem there is enough room and role which various institutions can play. And we have been working very actively in partnerships and in public-private partnership or through other startups. And we are supporting a lot of startups also in various things. So we are providing them opportunity to do proof of concept, scale up their solutions. And now Mars, which is going to be our super app and platform, will also provide a lot of plug and play opportunities. Wherein if suppose one startup is very good in quality assaying, but for them reach and scale will be a challenge. So we can integrate. So likewise, there are many opportunities which are there for multiple players. And I think a collaboration and a collective working is the way forward.
Before I conclude, one thing, because ITC is always a champion of women empowerment.
Yes.
Everywhere they participate these things. So, and agriculture where women employment engagements are very high. So,
Yes.
do you think that a special facility or special attention or their ease of doing their life in all those things should be taken care of these things?
I think very good question, Mr. Chakravarti, and I missed touching on this aspect. So we are actually very actively engaging with women in agriculture. So many of our initiatives is where we are actually coordinating through women's self-help groups, and not only in agriculture, but I think role of women goes beyond that in terms of creating livelihood opportunities. So we are also working in sustainable livelihood, project. And you are absolutely right that the role of women in agriculture is very, very significant, and then they play a very important role. And the same can be further, increased. In fact, when we are supporting FPOs, a lot of women are FPO members, and they are also very actively participating in formation of FPOs and working. Or even the self-help groups, what we are working with in climate smart agriculture projects, or in say Niti Aayog, tie-up in aspirational districts. So everywhere women participation has been very active, and you are right, they are a very significant part. Animal husbandry, in fact, there's a lot of role which women play in taking care of animals, and so there is a very immense contribution, and I think. We as an organization, we have a lot of focus, and everyone all stakeholders in this ecosystem have to really, think on that, and it's a very significant, sort of, and a very important area to look into.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for giving such a wonderful 1 hour with us. And a lot of insights have been shared by you. And it is a big learning for the audience about how ITC is starting the journey through the e-Chopal and the way forward. This is a big learning, and special thanks to you for taking it forward, sir. And from Bengal Chamber, heartfelt thanks to you for accepting our invitations and sparing your valuable 1 hour time with us. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Chakravarti, and thank you very much for inviting us and given this opportunity to share our thoughts on this subject. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank
you. Now, I think our next session is on geographical identification of rural products, a marketing stance how to create better business model in association with the NABARD also. So I'm requesting Arnav to take it forward.
Thank you, sir.
Arnav, you are yeah. Okay.
Thank you. We are at the last session of our Rural Connect 2022. The session name is the Geographical Identification of the Rural Products, a marketing stance to create better business model. We have with us two eminent speakers, Mr. Abhilash Gore, who is the technical experts of Quality Council of India, Secretary of Avocado India, and the Chief Consultant of Samruddhi Exchange. And we have also with us Srimati Shuprabha Malik, Consultant, APEDA from the Regional Office, Kolkata. So I would like to first request Mr. Gore to present his views on the GI products, and we discussed also before the particular session that how a farmer or a producer can get the benefits from the GI tagged products and how GI will help to the exports and as well as in the other business model aspects. So over to Mr. Gore for his insightful presentation. Thank you.
You are on mute, Mr. Gore.
Okay, now I am audible?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and my screen, I shared my screen from my laptop, so is it visible? I think it's visible.
Yes, Mr. Gore, it's visible.
Great. Yeah. So can I shut down my video to save on some video strength, internet link, because I am here in Belgaum, Karnataka, in rural area on a sugar factory. So I wish to switch off my video so that I can save.
Sure.
Thank you. So I will start it in again in question and answers, and this is BTS from my daughter. She's like that. So that my my subject is geographical indication of rural products, a marketing stance to create better business model. And this is, I think, last year's Rural Connect, connecting rural dots. So I picked up the same theme, connecting the dots, and it's connect, conserve, and compete. How we can use GI product to connect, conserve, and compete. And I have one more C. I will show you that. So I will go to next slide. So this is geographical indications is your reputation. It is history of 50 to 60 years and future for 50 to 60 years. They connect the dots of 100 to 120 years. They help you to compete. They help you to conserve, and it is a collective effort because it is a collective intellectual property and not a individual intellectual property like trademarks, patents. It's a collective and community intellectual property. And for connecting, I have two terms, prosumer, connecting dots between producer and consumer, and rural. For next 50 to 60 years, there will be no rural area like I think. So it will be mix of rural and urban. So I used the term rural, connecting rural and urban dots. So let's go to next. This is the three cases I liked most. Two have geographical indication, one in India, one in Bangladesh, and one is yet to go, but these are live animals. And when they are able to move, but they got GI. So this eelish fish, very important in economy of East India, I can say the Bangladesh, Bengal, Odisha. We don't have GI for eelish fish in India, but Bangladesh had given the GI to eelish fish in 2004. And if you see 450,000 people are directly involved in catching the fish. But if this fish comes to cross the borders of India, it becomes in the Indian territory. And maybe this fish may born in Indian territory and then may move to downside to Bangladesh, and they got the GI. We had to do that. If this fish is in India, it will be Indian GI. If this fish is in Bangladesh, then it will be Bangladesh GI. That's possible. We are sharing many GI with neighboring states, not for one state. That same product is for two or more states. So we had to work on this because it is a very good economy, and sometime in festival Bangladesh send some hilsa fish to India also, as far as my information goes, and I am weak in that part. But then Kadaknath is also a Kalimasi chicken. Mainly it is in Jabua, Madhya Pradesh, but now it is mainly grown in Maharashtra. Karnataka also it has a good demand, but people of Jabua can't harvest the benefits of this Kadaknath as much as possible. Then Khilari cattle is very good in competitions, races, and in moving the loads at sugarcane factories and at farms. But the breed is in decline because it is low milk yield and offers alternative. So it is not breeded that much in Sangli, Bijapur, Dharwad, and Belgavi. So that can be conserved. So these are the three examples of live animals which have GI. Then for prosumer, I mean to say, a rise in user participation blurs the line between production, promotion, and consumption activities. So producer can be a consumer for some GI, or if he is part of the same topography where consumers are helping them to promote the product after the production. So that will also help to increase the rural economy. Then consumer and prosumer, this is the small difference. I have almost 129 slides to present, but I will take the important slides and move on. So consumer is using product only for himself, but prosumer is consuming the product and promoting the product also by any way, any social media platform, or say by his social media accounts. So that we had to think. And urban areas now people are getting more benefits. So in short, I will like to show you the status of GI products mainly from West Bengal first. because GI is a collective intellectual property owned by community, and it is not a individual IP as trademarks. So Darjeeling tea, there is only one authorized user. Nakshi Katha, one authorized. Lakshman Bhog mango, 0 authorized user. Sagar mango, 0 authorized user. Fazli mango, 0 authorized user. Santipur sari, 34. Baluchari sari, 18. Dhania Khali sari, 17. And this Bengal muslin and another one sari is in pre-examination stage. Whereas if you see Jayanagar Moa, 95 authorized user, Vartaman Sitabhog only 10, and they are owned by one proprietor. So they may be the same authorized user for Miidana and Sitabhog. Govindbhog rice only 6 farmers. Tula Panji rice, no authorized user. Bangla Rasgulla, it's a big fight, but only 92 authorized user. If you see these are the things, then there is no benefit of getting the GI, because if you see there are almost 21 GI. If you see the number of authorized user, not that much. If you see the GI website at the bottom here, this type of number is given by geographical indication registry for each authorized user. So these authorized users are the mainly turnover and balance sheet managers of these products. This, if you see the top corner, it is the one proprietor, but under this proprietor you have to register the authorized users. This application number 533 Bangalore Rasgulla, only 92 authorized users. From availability date is from 2017. So what is the economy of each product? This is the key slides of my presentation. How we can harvest the economy of this product, from where the area starts and where it ends. Where it is overlapping area, that is good, that in the same area you can use many authorized user, register many authorized user, and cost of operation will be very less. Whether it has a local consumption, what is your catchment area of that product, what is the capacity? Can it be increased by increasing the density of authorized user and not by expanding the area on the map? You see the Basmati case, they want to increase the area on the map to include the farmers of Madhya Pradesh, but it is denied for the Basmati rice. So instead of expanding the area on the map, we had to increase the density of authorized user. I will show you the case. We had to work on value chain and supply chain approach to adopt authenticity and profits. Buy, add value and sell. We had to include all our value chain partners, because there is a lot of issues in food fraud and authenticity of GI products. I will show you some case studies with Alfonso and Saffron and Shawl, what we are doing there in Alfonso mango. So handicraft products, these products, there are mainly 5 categories: manufactured product, handicraft product, foodstuff, agriculture and natural goods. I had given the examples also. Only one product, natural goods, Makrana marble, is registered as GI. But mainly there are manufactured products, foodstuffs and agriculture. Handicrafts, there is a good range of handicrafts. If you see, these are the 2 websites where they had not included the categories properly. They had to connect it. One is Waha GI and one is India Brand Equity Foundation, IBEF. So at that level we had to work. In Europe there are 3 categories. We have 6 categories. They have PGI, they have PDO, and one is traditional specialties guaranteed. Today I had a news that temple prasads cannot get the GI because we don't have that category. That can be traditional specialty guaranteed. But we had to protect that authenticity also for prasadam. There are 2 prasadams. One is from Pollachi, Tamil Nadu, and one is Tirupati Laddu that got the GI. They need to protect their authenticity, but GI Act may not give them that protection because we don't have that category also. And they can't register the authorized user also for Tirupati Laddu. They don't want to register. They want to keep it for themselves. So it's not a community intellectual property as it has to be. So that also one of the issue. I will not go into the details of this, but if you see other examples of mango, in Darjeeling tea there is only one authorized user, then what is the use of that GI? In Basmati rice there is no authorized user, it is owned by Apeda, don't take me otherwise. Alfonso mango, we have 1303 authorized user, whereas in Solapur pomegranate we have 1346 authorized user, and we have a clear competition between Solapur pomegranate and Konkan Alfonso. Alfonso is Alfonso, only in Konkan, nothing else. It is a single word like Basmati, a Feni. Feni is from Goa, nothing else, no coconut Feni, nothing. It's only from cashew. Basmati is a rice, that's all. Alfonso is a mango. So only 3 products got the word, only single word GI in India. And in Alfonso value chain, we registered trader, exporters and juice processors. Whereas I will take the other mango examples of India, you see there are no authorized users. Then how you can see the main question on this slide, what is the balance sheet and turnover of each authorized user, how he can make the brand of this, how he can take the benefit of GI. And what is the use of this famous Malavati Dasheri mango, no authorized user, Gir Kesar, no authorized user, Marathwada Kesar, no authorized user. And it is the yesterday's information from the website, GI registry website. So we had to reach to the root, and whether can other standards and acts help to prove authenticity and integrity of GI product and protect from possible food frauds. You can use FSSA 2006, that is by default applicable, Food Safety and Standards Act of India and its regulation. You can use Protection and of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Light Act for registering the varieties, so that it cannot go outside of your GI area. You can use Consumer Protection Act, you can use India Gap standard by QCI, you can use organic certification, so that you can get the base value of GI plus premium 1 plus premium 2, that is your selling price. So GI Act 1 plus India Gap plus PPV FRA, these are the 2 premiums you can add to the farmer's basket in every product. And there are, at the bottom there are 2 news. One is QR code to know all about Alfonso, and one is Kashmir silk carpets get the QR code. If you see the dates, these are very fresh news. I will show you the photos. What is the brand value of Alfonso mango? Is it a brand? Yes, it is. Is there any strength? Yes, lot of. What are the weaknesses? Lot of. What are the threats? Lots. Who owns it? It's a community property. Who can damage the brand? The same community can damage the brand. Who can use? Only the authorized user can use. Who cannot use? Non-authorized user cannot use. How to control the unauthorized use? By using the QR code on each mango. Is it possible? Yes, I will show you. Is there any incident or any evidence? Yes, we are going to see that. This is one of the wine from Nasik made by Sula. That also have the GI tag. I will show you the lot of photographs. Is there any premium to Alfonso mango? Yes, there is a premium. That's how we can invest it. Weakness, we are covering them. What are the opportunities? You can see the opportunities. How to harvest them? I will show you the harvesting method of the GI. I am working with small farmers of Mahabaleshwar strawberry also, Nasik grapes, no authorized user. We are exporting, sending lot of grapes to West Bengal and Bangladesh, even in Europe also, but there is no authorized user registered to Nasik grapes. There is only one authorized user registered for Nasik Valley wine. After a lot of follow-up. So these are the QR code we are putting on Alfonso mango. You scan the mango and you will reach to the GI, geographical, GPS location of that farm. You can see the harvesting quantities, whether it is sold, whether that mango is all authentic, and it is powered by Farm Trace. We hired them, Innoterra company, and they are putting this QR code earlier to their Happy Bananas. Now we are putting them in Mahabaleshwar strawberry as well as in Alfonso's from last season. And we are using GI logo, because if someone uses GI logo, it's an offense. So our GI logo is there on the sticker, along with our logo and Farm Trace logo. So this design makes you to tempt to do one more offense. And these QR codes cannot be copied, because they have backup information at our IT infrastructure. See, this is the mango. This is how the mango packing is done. And I want to request to all participants here, as we are using R in the circle for trademarks, C for copyright, I urge you to use G in circle for GI products. Please, Chamber, please help us to take this as a moment, and please take it on the record that we can make this logo for identifying the GI product. Alfonso, G. Nasik grapes, G. Basmati, G. Hapus, G. Like this. I will share the PDF of this presentation with you, so that you can take up this with higher authorities, and we can use this G in circle for GI products like champagne, Scotch whiskey, Alfonso, Basmati, Banarsi sari, Hilsa. And it is a Unicode character. It is available on Unicode at this number. We can use it. So it will increase the awareness of users, and it will make alert who can use, who cannot use. Unauthorized user can't use the G in circle. So these are the few photographs of GI. I will skip them. I will take you to the next benefits of GI. It's a legal protection, it's conservation, assurance of quality, and economic benefits. And it's very important. I had shown you the pictures, photographs, and it localizes you, and at the same time it delocalizes you in the urban areas. It has a certain magnetic effect. There is a spillover effect, enhanced food security, traceability, and there is a light monopoly, not full monopoly. Like trademarks is a full monopoly. This is a light monopoly for community. So it increases economics, employment, environment, and tradition. So these are the various fruits. We will go through that. We will not read all this. They are self-speaking. I will show you some actions we took with Alfonso mango and the offenses of GI. These are IBF posters, spot the GI contest on YGI. These many products one family can buy from all over India. That's how Sare Jahan Se Acha. We are a market. We have many countries within our map. See the population of India, and we have that much buying power too. So let's go to Alfonso. I will take you to that. This is our Alfonso logo certificate, our responsibility. I will not read every slide. This is our website and our address. We have an office, we have secretariat, and we are spending a lot of money on legal issues. Every 2-3 months we had to fight with people on legal points, and we spent a lot of on our lawyers also. And they are nice to us, giving us the right information and legal guidance. This is our website, you can go to that. And we have wall of fame and wall of shame also, to reward the people and to bring the food frauds to the consumers. So this is our Instagram page that is not that much active. We are on Facebook. We have a lot of posters on Facebook page. These are the posters for promotion. And this is our Twitter handle. I use it for promotions. These are our few tweets. This is our YouTube channel, not too active yet, but this is our organogram. This is, next is what? We got the GI, now what to do? This is the process flow chart. You got the authorized user certificate. Now how you will go ahead. These are the steps, how to fill the forms, how to do your inspection. We have one category other than farmer, OTF farmers, OTF. These are our value chain partners, exporters, traders, processors. We have separate fee for OTF. They want Alfonso for processing. Yes, come to us. We'll give you the Alfonso mango for processing. These are our farmer diaries, one for farmer and one for OTF. These are the formats, how you can use the authorized user number on the label. This is our unique label with color code separation for GI logo. Then this is the way we go ahead. This is the rules for nursery. How you can make the Alfonso nursery, how you cannot sell the Alfonso out of Konkan, how you cannot export the Alfonso by its name to out of India, because we have a lot of issues by imported mangoes. We were using Alfonso word illegally. We stopped that. So we have NHB accreditation for nurseries which are growing plants more than 5,000. And this is the regulation for packing material manufacturers. They are not allowed to make the generic packing of Alfonso mangoes anymore. This is the complaint procedure. You can register your complaint with us. And this is the main protection by Food Safety Act. It covers origin in the definition of claim. And here the consumer can give the origin claim complaint about the origin of GI product. So it is an offense under FSSAI, and additionally these are the sections of Food Act where it is an offense for misbranding, misleading advertisement, misbranded food. You see there are fines up to 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, including your celebrity in that advertisement. Unhygienic processing conditions. So that is also giving help for a authorized user to make their processing unit hygienic, to get the FSSAI license for processing unit. So these are the offenses. And under the GI Act, there are many rights given to authorized user, same as proprietor. So I will not go into the offenses because I have very short of time. Falsifying. So these are the fines and penalties. Fines and penalties. Fines and penalties. We can have a separate session on this for complete 1 day or 2 days for the actual users. Forfeiture of goods. This is our wall of fame. And thank you very much. I covered 129 slides. I don't know what is the time now. So thank you very much, Chamber, for giving me the opportunity. And I am open and available for question and answers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhilash Gore. Thanks a lot. We have learned a lot of things about GI from your presentation. Now we will go to the next speaker, and then we can take the questions jointly. Yeah, I would request Ms. Shuprabha Malik to turn your video on and present on behalf of APEDA and how they are looking for the GI products from the West Bengal and as well as also the eastern part of the country. Ms. Malik, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, and request you to start your video, please.
Sorry, actually, sir, due to some technical problem, my video, I could not able to on my video.
Carry on, please carry on. Sorry. Carry on.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the organizer for giving us the opportunity to deliver on geographical identification of products of especially of West Bengal and how this can create better business model and APEDA's effort to promote GI products. I will try to cover all this in brief within a given time slot. As you know that till date, West Bengal have identified 21 identified GI tag products. Among these, 9 products come under the purview of APEDA. And these products are Joynagar Moa, Bardhaman Shitabhog, Bardhaman Mihidana, Bangla Rashogolla, 3 varieties of mango, that is Himsagar or Khirshapati, Malda Fojli and Lakshman Bhog. And another 2 varieties of rice, that is Govindabhog rice and Tulai Panji rice. So far, APIDA Kolkata has conducted so many meetings or seminar with the state governments, manufacturers, farmers and other concerned stakeholders to promote GI products from West Bengal. A series of meetings and interactive sessions have already been organized by us in West Bengal. I would like to share some of the achievements so far. Last year, in the month of January, we have exported Joynagar Moa from West Bengal to the Kingdom of Bahrain, and all three types of GI tagged mango, that is Fajli from Malda, it was sent to the Kingdom of Bahrain, and Khirshapati mango, that is also sourced from Malda and sent to the Kingdom of Bahrain. Lakshman Bhog mango, that is also sourced from Malda and sent to the Kingdom of Bahrain. Good quantity of this mango has been exported so far. Not only in the Kingdom of Bahrain, it has also sent to the Qatar market. These 3 types of mango also sent to the Qatar market. And Bardhaman Shitabhog and Bardhaman Mihidana, these 2 sweet items also have been exported to the Kingdom of Bahrain, and it was sourced from the manufacturer who was GI tag holder actually. Apart from this, a few in-store programs of these products has also been taken place in the reputed supermarkets or family stores in the Bahrain and Qatar. And these programs were inaugurated by the concerned ambassadors of India. So we have also taken initiative to identify some more potential products for export purpose, which can be considered as GI tag. For example, I can say a few sweet items like Shaktigar Langcha, Monohara and Talsash, 2 traditional sweet items of the district Hugli, and Shor Bhaja, Shor Puria from the district of Nadia are having good demands in the overseas market. Similarly, 2 rice varieties of North Bengal, that is Kala Nunia and Radhuni Pagal, are yet to be promoted for export with GI tag. In this regard, communication has been made with the state government, but the desired information is yet to be received in this regard. Soon after new products are identified, the concerned state agency would apply for the GI registration also. So that is all from my side, and thank you so much.
Hello, thank you so much for your presentation. I have received few questions from the audience to Mr. Ghore specifically. One question from the audience, Mr. Ghore, that how can GI products or the GI tagging will help to promote export of that particular product?
See, GI product helps to share that reputation of community and that product with the importer with the legal documents. So importer and his consumers have greater faith in the process and tradition of making these products because they are already educated about the GI product in the destination markets a lot than ours, or we are not that much literate in using GI product. Actually, we have a very good history of consuming the GI products like Paithani saris and other things, Jamdani saris, muslin cloth and all that things. We have a good reputation. But now in this high-tech area, technology era, we had to preserve the authenticity and the traceable product. So that authenticity, I am a compliance consultant and trainer from last 20 years. And as far as our information goes, there is a lot of food products in olive oil like things, balsamic vinegar like things, even in cheeses from Europe. So as far as our Indian products are concerned, we had to prove the traceability as part of due diligence and compliance. And that we can charge the premium by simply doing the India Gap standard, which is about to become equivalent to global gap. You can give all the information for producing that batch of mangoes by doing the India Gap certification. The documents are available on QCI website, and that is the basic passport to export India Gap. What you had used, when you had sown, what is the harvesting process, how you are maintaining the hygiene, how you are managing the pesticide residues as per your APEDA regulation, all that are covered in India Gap standard. So that is a passport for export, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Now, I would like to request our chairman of the committee, Mr. Jayanto Chakraborty, if he has any questions, and to conclude the session and also provide the vote of thanks for the all over our Rural Connect 2022. Over to Mr. Chakraborty, please.
Yeah, thank you, Arnab. I think Mr. Gore, I should say knowledge I required. Suppose in Darjeeling tea is a GI is there, but there is no, I think, applications. Only one application has been done, I believe, no? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. So can
Yes.
you open your video, please?
Yeah. In Darjeeling tea, is the GI tag is there, but applicant is only one, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So in that case, it is geographically it is Darjeeling. So anyone having tea garden in Darjeeling can use that logo without having being applicant also?
No, sir, that is, see, for becoming authorized user, you had to apply to GI registry. And there is a 10 rupees fee for 10 years, sir.
No,
So only two forms are required. No notary document, no undertaking. Only two forms are required, and you have to send it to GI registry Chennai. People are not doing that. So they are unauthorized user. They are unauthorized user legally.
My query is that so much of Darjeeling tea is being sold as a GI tag, but application is only one. So that means most of the teas are not authorized by the GI. That is a big learning for me actually now.
Sir, yes.
Because it is, I should say GI tag will be more successful when there will be density of the applicants are very high actually. Then
Yes, sir.
Then it will be very high actually.
Yes, sir. Balance sheet of authorized user will speak that it is authentic trade, sir.
Yeah. I think, and moreover, the QR code concept is very important because traceability is the only way forward for understanding this GI product actually. Otherwise, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can claim that this product is a GI product. So
yes,
I think it's a very, and so government and all agencies should now focus only on the more number of applicants should register under the GI.
Yes.
Number two, they should also have the more density, more people should do this thing. Then only
yes,
it should be an integral part of the business process and export could be enhanced actually.
perfect.
So I think your presentation is absolutely fabulous actually, but I am really sorry that this presentation needs one full day actually. This is because I am thankful to you because I requested Mr. Azhar Pathan actually to recommend for a person. So he told me I am giving you one of the best person who can this. So what do you do? Because GI, because yesterday I discussed in the NABARD also. So NABARD GM also requested us that there should be exclusive fair along with APEDA, along with others should be only for the GI product. There should be.
I will like to. I will like that.
Yeah. So we will keep in touch with you. subsequently, we will have a exclusive offline or online discussions on these GI issues so that we can take it forward. Chamber is very much interested to take it forward because it is the business interest of the people actually. So, yeah. So I think paisa hai isme, and your insights are very, and I think India Gap should be promoted very aggressively.
Yes, sir. I will share very good news very soon with you, sir.
Okay, please. I will be keeping in touch with you for further, because it is a knowledge actually. You see, you can say, though we are from the agricultural background, but GI knowledge and all those things, we are absolutely zero. Very frankly. So there is no problem expressing that it is a learning process. So we'll learn from you and we will applicate these things. And the experts like Ms. Supa Malik from APEDA, some consultants are there. We will definitely connect with them, and if jointly we can have a better understanding with the stakeholders. So, sincere thanks to you, Mr. Ghore, for giving such a wonderful presentations for this thing, and that too from a remote place, from a sugar mill. It shows your commitment and dedication for this thing. Also, we are really obliged to you, Mr. Ghore.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Suprava Malik, for giving an insight of this West Bengal perspective of the GI products. We'll stay connected with your office for further updates also. So, thank you very much. We will stay with you for your more coordinations and more support. How we can be a good stakeholder in propagating the concept of GI in West Bengal, particularly, definitely. So we are at the end of the 2 days conclave, and we have kept this session because I am telling you, nobody has kept in many of the programs also. But I think GI is becoming a very important day by day. So we have included this thing. So since last 2 days, we have our Rural Connect 2022 is the 6th edition of Bengal Chamber of Commerce. You see, we are doing 3-4 programs. One is around the Agri colloquium, where we showcase about the production, research, extension, and all those things. Then we have a FPO conclave, where we have an exclusive focus on the FPO, where the new concept of aggregation of the farm should be there. Slogan was power of aggregation. Then this is the Rural Connect. We think you may produce, you have technology, but if you cannot sell, there is no point in producing so much of product also. So Market Connect is the way forward. So our edition of Rural Connect is focusing on that thing. So we have having inaugural session yesterday. That was on policy perspective, growth challenges and opportunities in rural India, which has been given by Vice Chancellors, then Dr. A.R. Khan from NABARD, then Mr. Pradeep Kashyap from founder MART also. Then we are also, and Minister of Agriculture, Government of West Bengal, Mr. Shobhandeep Chattopadhyay also addressed this is the inaugural address. Followed by CEO's roundtable was there, Vision 2030, India's rural market competitiveness and opportunities, which was being attended by CEOs of the organizations. Then we have a fireside chat session with Mr. Kondinia, who is the eminent personality in the agriculture sector, on the opportunities, challenges, and innovations on 2030. Then we have a global value chain and agriculture connecting producers to customers, where PepsiCo, Mr. Ajar Pathan from Mahindra, and from Mr. Konar from the Ramnagar Seeds participated. Today in the morning, we have a very brilliant session with the Managing Director of SBI about the farm credit and SBI's role in making the agricultural business more digital, supportive, and more comprehensive for the benefit of the farmer, towards the increasing the farmers' benefit actually. Followed by, there was a session with, there is an exclusive session which is very important to this perspective, Market Connect, tech and finance-driven marketing strategies also. That also followed by one fireside chat with ITC people. They are the pioneer in the agri-tech and this innovations in the agriculture. And lastly, the geographical identification of rural products also. So we had a very engaged 2 days session, and sincere thanks to all the speakers those who have taken the pain in spite of busy schedule to make it happen, and to our entire audience, those who have spared their time to listen to us, and hopefully they have gained their some inputs for their way forward. And chamber as a whole is enriched with lots of knowledges. We will be making a paper document on this thing, and we will submit to the government of West Bengal about the way forward as advised by the Honorable Minister in charge, Agriculture, Mr. Shobhanda Chattopadhyay. So we will accumulate all the salient features for the drafting a policy note for the government of West Bengal. And with this, I sincerely thank again all the speakers for their deliberations, the audience in particularly those who have joined on digital platforms for their tenacity, for their I should say interest in listening to the different speakers. The entire team of Bengal Chamber of Commerce for supported this event actually, and also the managing committee member of Bengal Chamber of Commerce for extending their best support to Agricultural Committee to make this happen. So once again, sincere thanks to all of you. Thank you. Good night. Shubhratri.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.